Hi guys, I am Roranoa. This video is about What If Luffy Meets Goku Part 4. Please like, subscribe and share Roranoa TV for more One Piece fanfiction videos. Goku, Sanji, Luffy and Zoro walked up to see their crew. King Neptune, Jinbei, Shirahoshi and a servant of King Neptune's greet them. "Where's the treasure?" Nami said, glaring at the guys who were coming back empty-handed. "We gave it to Big Mama Nami-chan," Sanji said with hearts for eyes, causing everyone to look at the guys with a horrified look. "You gave all the treasure to Big Mama?" King Neptune and Nami said. "Yeah, she was nuts. She said she would destroy this place since you didn't have candy. I mean, I could understand if it was meat since it's my favorite food, but relax, Goku was awesome. He boldly took on her challenge, even threatened back if she had tried to hurt one of us," Luffy said, grinning, causing Goku to put hand behind his head and grin a little. "Aw, come on Luffy, now you're just embarrassing me," Goku said, causing everyone but Robin, Luffy, Zoro and Sanji to have a look of shock at the Saiyan. "You accepted a challenge to one of the four emperors," everyone shouted at Goku, who just smiled brightly. "Yeah, and besides, if she's stronger than my normal form, I can always transform into Super Saiyan 1, 2, or 3. If that's the case, it would be a shocker if she could take me on in my god form," Goku chuckled, causing everyone except Luffy to stare at Goku blankly to what he had just said. "I'm sorry, what did you just say? You can turn into a Super Saiyan 3. Usopp said, but was interrupted by Chopper, who dashed towards Goku with stars for eyes. "You're a god," Chopper said excitedly, thinking that he was having an adventure with a god. Goku just grinned. "Well, I'm not a god, but I have a form that allows me the powers that is closely related to a god and combine it with my Super Saiyan form," Goku explained, to see everyone still staring at him blankly. "Here, just watch me," Goku said as he started to demonstrate his transformation. He started off at Super Saiyan 2 and then started to charge more energy. His hair started to grow rapidly and the electricity was surging around his body more violently. He flashed a golden explosion, causing everyone except Luffy to stare at Goku with utter amazement at his new form. "This is Super Saiyan 3, a form that has reached new levels of an ascended Saiyan," Goku said, causing everyone to nod in unison. "Next will be my first form in God form," Goku said as he clenched his fists together and start charging even more power. This time a red aura similar to Goku's Kaioken form engulfed him, his build slimmed down and his hairstyle returned back to normal, and he had a reddish hair color instead of the golden look they all were used to seeing. This is the original form of the Super Saiyan God, an unstable one that would usually last for 30 minutes, but thanks to key control training from my teacher Vados, I was able to learn and transform my god powers into a permanent one, Goku said as he was once again charging more power and was shaking the palace violently as he was charging to the max. "Ha!" Goku shouted as a blue flame glow appeared instead and engulfed him. His hairstyle returned back to what a Super Saiyan hairstyle looked like and now had a blue color, as did his eyes. His build returned back to normal and was just smirking at his friends, who were all looking at him astonished to what he was capable of. "This is my ultimate form at Super Saiyan, the powers of a god infused into my Super Saiyan form. You can call it Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan, or in shorter terms Super Saiyan Blue," Goku said, still smiling at his friends. "So this is strongest you are right now?" Frankie said, dashing towards examining Goku from head to toe. "Well, I have a technique called Kaioken that would exponentially increase my powers, but that's my last reserve due to the fact that the technique could possibly kill me if I do it wrong, and even if I manage to pull it off, the strain the technique puts on me would kill any normal human being the more power is being used. So far I only went up to by 50 inches, Goku said with a small smile, but then turned to everyone with a serious look. "But like I said to Big Mama, I don't care who or what she represents, but if she threatens my friends, she'll be personally be greeted by me," Goku said, raising his clenched fist in view of his face. Shirahoshi smiled. "Oh my. You're so strong, Goku-san," Shirahoshi said as her cheeks turned red. Usopp looked at her with a shocked face. "That isn't the problem here," Usopp shouted, causing the princess to turn around and start to cry a little. "You're so scary, Usopp-san," Shirahoshi said, to which Usopp quickly apologized. Luffy came in and said he wanted to join Goku and beat Big Mama if they ever see her. Nami had the angriest look Goku ever saw as she came and punched Luffy, Zoro and Sanji to the ground. She didn't try to hit Goku since she knew it would backfire on her again. "I can't believe you idiots gave her all the treasure that was for us," Nami said angrily. King Neptune and his servant couldn't believe what they heard and were speaking to themselves privately. They were worried that if Big Mama opened up the treasure, she was going to get a nasty surprise that would be considered a declaration of war from the Straw Hat Pirates. They were worried about a bomb that was put into one of the chests because the guards thought they could capture a thief if they were to steal from the treasury. They soon realized that the Straw Hats were taking the treasure and notified the king to ask them to get rid of the bomb chest, but now know that Big Mama is going to get it instead. After an hour of leisure time for the Straw Hats, it was time for them to go up into the new world and go on to another adventure. All the fishmen and mermaids came to watch as their new friends were heading off. Shirahoshi looked down on Goku and Luffy and started to cry. You're really leaving Goku, Luffy-sama. But we just became friends. Please, just one more day, 1 week, no 1 year, the princess said with tears rolling down her cheeks. Don't worry, Shirahoshi, I'm sure we'll be able to visit someday again. Goku said, smiling at the princess. Really? The princess said, trying to compose herself and try not to cry again. Sure. Anytime we stop by, we'll definitely head by to the palace to meet you, Goku said and grinned. Soon the crew headed off into sea when Shirahoshi came towards them, causing them to stop the ship. Wait, Shirahoshi called out as the ship was slowly stopping. Princess. Sanji yelled out with hearts for eyes, as he saw the mermaid beauty in front of him again. Oh, Princess. Nice to see you again. What happened? Goku said jokingly, since the crew just saw her like a minute ago. Goku-san, if we ever meet again, when the time comes, I'll be braver to explore the world, travel farther than my mother's grave, maybe up in the surface to see a real-life forest, so please take me on another fun walk. Shirahoshi said, causing Goku to grin. Sure, I'd be happy to bring you to see the surface and the forest. Goku said, smiling, holding out his hand and closing his eyes. It's a promise. Goku grinned. Shirahoshi smiled, wiped her eyes and held out her finger to shake Goku's small hand compared to her large finger. Goku and the rest of the crew waved off the mermaids and fishmen who were waving a farewell to them as they headed off to their next adventure. Let's go, you guys. To the new world. Luffy raised his fist into the air as the ship started towards upwards the ocean to reach the surface. As the crew reached the surface, they arrived at a small town to resupply on materials they would need. Robin came back to the boat with a newspaper that caught her interest. Hey, look what I discovered. If we take a detour from this island, we should make it to Battle Island for the 87th Dragon Tournament, Robin said, smiling as the rest of the crew except Goku gleamed at the newspaper happily. The Dragon Tournament. Has the Dragon King and Queen passed away or stepped down? Frankie said with stars in his eyes when hearing the Dragon Tournament was coming back. We have to go. It would be awesome to become Pirate and Dragon King at the same time. Luffy said happily. What's the Dragon Tournament? Goku asked as the crew turned around to him. Robin was the first to respond. Goku, the Dragon Tournament is legendary as it brings many strong fighters from around the world into one island to see who would beat all the rest in a 1-versus-1 fighting style. If you win the entire tournament, you become the Dragon King or Queen for the rest of your life until you pass away or step down from the title. It's just as symbolic as the Pirate King, probably even more. It's known around the world, Robin said, causing Goku to smile happily. Awesome. We have to go there. If there are strong people there, I have to go meet them. Goku said excitedly as he was preparing himself for the next Dragon Tournament. It was very similar to his World's Tournament. If you win, you become that year's winner. But the Dragon title was forever. Robin had a sad look. It seems the women's division has already started, so that means we can't participate, Nami, Robin said, looking at the newspaper. No. And I wanted to participate for all that gold. Nami said, crying that she lost an opportunity with fame and fortune. Still haven't changed these past 2 years, have you? Usopp said, smiling, but instantly regretted it when Nami punched him to the ground hard. I was just joking, Usopp weakly said while laying on the floor. Nami turned to Robin. So what happened to the previous Dragon King and Queen, Robin? Nami asked. Robin looked up from the newspaper. The Dragon Queen had passed away from a stroke, but the king walked into the island and asked to step down his title. He said he met a fellow on his travel and wanted to live his life in peace, so he decided to give up his position. Robin said. Wait, I think I know him. Goku said, causing every head to turn towards him. His name was Kayamori Toyoshima, isn't it? Goku asked, surprising everyone that Goku had heard of him. Wait, you actually met and trained with the Dragon King? Everyone shouted to Goku after he explained how he knew him. Luffy wasn't really paying attention to the name the first time Goku said it to him the first time. He just wanted to fight the person who fought against Goku, so he was just as shocked to hear this. Yeah, he was totally nice. I can't believe I thought he was weak if he managed to beat those strong people. Goku said, grinning, now had a look of determination. Alright, if I'm to get ready for this tournament, I'll have to train to the max. Goku said with fire in his eyes. While Goku and the rest of the Straw Hats were getting ready to go to Battle Island in preparations for the Dragon Tournament. A far distance away from the crew, a portal started to form and was growing at an alarming rate. When the portal stopped growing, a tall figure walked out and was smiling deviously, ha ha ha. At last I'm free from that wretched place, the figure laughed manically. He looked down to see a village and went down to visit the place. The looks that the people gave the figure was priceless and the man enjoyed it very much. The figure decided he had enough time roaming around the village and thought it was time to blow it up, but a poster board with a certain person had caught his attention for a moment. Incredible, no matter where I'll go you'll always be there, won't you, Son Goku? The figure glared at the poster and tore it off the board. He turned to one of the villagers and shouted at them. You there, where is this man? The figure shouted at the villager. I don't know. The man replied, to which he was slapped down to the ground and was threatened to having him and the island blown to pieces if he didn't tell where Son Goku was. I swear I don't know. My best bet is if you find him in Battle Island. That's where the next Dragon Tournament is being held right now. I'm sure that's where Goku and his crew are going, the man said, terrified to what the figure would do to him in his village. The figure smiled and let go of the man. See. This all would have worked out more easily if you had told me that much sooner, the figure said as he got up from the ground. He looked at the clothing store to his right and walked in to get a clothing item that interested him the moment he entered into the village. The figure walked out with a cloak that draped around his body covering his appearance. Perfect. Now all I have to do is go to that tournament and wait to get my chance against Goku, the cloaked man smiled. He flew off the island and headed straight for Battle Island. I'll be waiting for you, Goku, and when I destroy you with my own hands, I'll make sure to conquer this entire world for myself. The cloaked man said while laughed the entire way to Battle Island. The crew was heading towards Battle Island and set for the 87th Dragon Tournament. Nami and Robin were taking it easy, they were resting in the front of the island. Sanji rushes towards the two with a large amount of food in his hand. Nami-chan, Robin-san, please enjoy the food I prepared for you, Sanji said with hearts for eyes and bowing towards them with the food in front of them. Nami and Robin took the prepared meal from Sanji and smiled at him. Thank you for the meal, Sanji, Robin said smiling. Nami also thanked Sanji for the meal. Luffy ran towards the three and his mouth was watering as he saw the meal. Can I have some? Luffy said before he felt a foot hitting him square in the cheek, sending him flying. This is for Nami and Robin. Sanji yelled angrily when he kicked Luffy, sending him flying. You ate already. At least a whole week worth of food, Sanji said as he turned around to walk back to Nami and Robin. Zoro was sleeping on near the front while Chopper, Frankie, Brook and Usopp were planning to pull a prank on him. Chopper was to get Zoro to wake up, and when he did, Usopp, with a plate full of pie, he would smash it onto Zoro's face. As Chopper slowly woke up Zoro, Usopp ran forward with the pie, but Zoro quickly put out his leg to stretch, causing Usopp to trip and fall face first into the pie. Chopper, Frankie, Brook and Zoro couldn't stop laughing when they saw pieces of pie were stuffed inside of Usopp's nose. Usopp got mad and started to chase after the four while they still laughed. Goku was meditating on the sideline, practicing what his old teacher Kami had showed him. Goku felt relaxed, but he still couldn't wait to go to Battle Island for the Dragon Tournament. Robin walked up to Goku and was carefully observing him. She thought she wasn't noticed until Goku spoke. Is something wrong, Robin? Goku smiled as his eyes were still closed, taking Robin by surprise. He knew she was there. How did you know it was me? Robin asked as everyone else started to head towards their directions. Goku opened his eyes and smiled a little before he got up. I can sense your key energy, all of yours. Everyone has a distinct key power, so I could tell it was you when you walked up, Goku said, causing Luffy to dash towards him. So you fight without needing to see? Luffy said with stars for eyes. Yeah, when I was a child and before I became a martial arts master, I had always fought while using my eyes, but my teacher had taught me how to use this technique in a fight. I needed to learn how to fight without my eyes, so I trained myself until I learned how to sense other people's key energy, Goku said, fascinating everyone. Then you won't mind if we spar a little? Zoro said, causing Luffy, Sanji to grin as they wanted to fight against Goku as well. Sure, it'll be fun. Goku grinned as the rest moved back a little. The four went into their fighting position until Zoro, Sanji and Luffy dashed towards Goku, who raised his hands in defense. He blocked Zoro's swift blade strikes by pushing his hand downwards onto Zoro's wrist and then sidestepping to see Sanji sending a barrage of kicks downwards onto him. Goku raised his arms upwards in a blocking position to take the kicks head-on. Relentless Sanji was slamming his powerful kicks towards Goku, who still was blocking them. Sanji gritted his teeth and immediately his legs burst into flames as he sent another relentless assault towards Goku. Goku had sensed Sanji's power had gotten a lot more powerful. Goku back-flipped away to see now Luffy having his arm stretched back and covered in a dark coating. Goku jumped into the air to dodge the punch and landed on Luffy's arm, taking him by surprise. Goku took advantage of the moment and kicked Luffy's head to the side, causing it to go flying to the floor hard. Luffy jumped back up and increased the size of his fist. Third gear, Luffy said as he jumped into the air and sent his coated fist downwards to Goku, who jumped upwards and sent his own fist to match against Luffy's, causing a huge gust of wind to knock both fighters back down to the ground. Luffy landed on the top sail while Goku landed on the lower part of the main deck. As Goku got up, he sensed Zoro and Sanji coming straight towards him and he braced himself for their second attack. As Zoro was about to slam his sword down, Goku raised his blue flare that engulfed his body to catch the sword. Zoro widened his eyes, surprised Goku had caught the sword. Immediately Goku kicked Zoro in the stomach, sending him flying into a few boxes that were lying around the ship. Next Sanji came and started to proceed kicking Goku again, this time managing to hit Goku a few times. Sanji slammed his foot down on Goku's head, causing him to fall but not hit the ground. Instead Goku pulled out his hands and did flip kick to Sanji's face, causing him to go flying towards Zoro, who just got out of the wreckage to be put right back into it. Goku thought he won when Luffy was rushing towards Goku in second gear. Luffy was angry and was rapidly punching Goku, who went into defense and was blocking the punches with ease. "You're limiting your movement because you're thinking with your emotions," Goku said as he was still blocking the punches. "Shut up." Luffy yelled angrily as he tried to keep up the pace. "Stop trying to fight with your emotions but with a focused mind, only then will you fight to the best of your ability," Goku said as he caught Luffy's hands and did a side kick to Luffy, face sending him flying as well into Zoro and Sanji back into the wreckage. The three guys got out of the wreckage and then jumped into the air. Luffy coated his fist while Zoro started spinning rapidly with his three-sword style and Sanji legs burst into flames and started to do flame wheel spin. All three were coming towards Goku as he flew upwards. Immediately he raised his arms in a blocking position and was going to take the attacks head-on. Zoro's tornado engulfed Goku and started to cut his skin. He wasn't in pain but he felt a lot of stinging around his body as the tornado was causing small cuts around Goku. Next Sanji spun towards Goku and stretched his leg out to Goku's face, but he raised his hands and caught the attack. It was burning Goku's hand as the flames were burning. Goku threw Sanji's leg upwards, but to his surprise Sanji spun around to use his second leg to hit the side of Goku's head, causing Goku to start descending down towards the ship. Goku slowed himself as he was nearing the ship. Goku went head first towards the ship and stuck out his hands to do a back flip to catch himself. As Goku was stopping, he sensed Luffy behind him and he stopped to turn around to see Luffy sending his fist to Goku's face. Goku took the hit but was just pushed a few inches before he retaliated with an uppercut, sending Luffy up into the air. Goku smiled as he was having fun. "This is great. I'm glad I'm a part of the Straw Hat crew," Goku grinned as he started flying upwards to the three guys. Back with the rest of the crew, Brook, Frankie, Usopp and Chopper were watching the fight escalate and were cheering on. Robin just smiled while Nami sighed. "Those idiots are going to get themselves hurt before we even reach Battle Island," Nami said, walking towards the rest of the crew. "Incredible. I've never seen such an awesome fight in a while," Brook said. "I'm glad it's not us though," Usopp said, fearing what it would feel like getting punched by Luffy, Zoro, Sanji or Goku. Boom! The seas were roaring and swinging wildly, causing the ship to twist and turn as Goku and Luffy were punching each other's fist non-stop. Goku previously kicked Sanji and Zoro back down to the ship and they felt a lot of pain when they tried standing up and failed, falling right back down. Now it was only Luffy and Goku who were slamming their fists at each other's fist, causing a huge backlash of force to spread around them and down towards the ship. Luffy yelled out before he lashed out a fist to Goku's stomach and he connected as Goku's face flashed a sign of pain and then grinned. Luffy was confused until he saw Goku's body disappearing. "No. After image," Luffy said. "That's right." Goku yelled upwards and slammed his fist down onto Luffy's cheek, sending him flying down onto the ship. Goku slowly ascended downwards onto the ship and saw Luffy, Zoro and Sanji getting up slowly but barely holding steady. Luffy grinned. Okay Goku, you win, that was one hell of a match anyways. Luffy said as he held out his hand towards Goku. Goku smiled and accepted Luffy's handshake before the rest of the crew came towards the four. Are you all alright? Robin said looking at Zoro. Sanji, Luffy were covered in bruises while Goku had small cuts around his body from Zoro's blade tornado attack and a small burn print on his palm from Sanji's flame attack. Somewhat were okay. Luffy grinned as did the rest of the three. I'll get some bandages for your injuries. It seems you have a fracture in one of your ribs and you broke your femur. Sanji, you won't be able to participate in the tournament this year, Chopper said sadly. Sanji had a sad look that he couldn't participate in the 87th Dragon Tournament. Wait, I have something for your injuries, Goku said as he ran inside the ship into his room and then quickly coming out with a capsule. He clicked the top and threw the capsule down onto the ship and the capsule exploded, causing a small boom sound as a small bottle appeared. Goku picked up the bottle and opened it and was picking something out of it. Goku quickly got the item out of the bottle and revealed it to be a senzu bean. You think me eating a damn bean will help me? Sanji said in disbelief, but Goku smiled. It's not just any ordinary bean, it's called a senzu bean, Goku said, causing Sanji to stare blankly at the Saiyan as it didn't clarify anything. It helps you recover your injuries in an instant, Goku said, holding out 4 senzu beans for them to eat. Eventually Sanji gave in and took the senzu bean and ate and was amazed to see Goku was right. He did feel a lot better. He looked up at Goku and smiled. That is one amazing bean, alright, Sanji said, causing Goku to grin. Zoro and Luffy took the senzu and were also instantly healed. Goku took the last senzu bean and his cuts and burned palm were gone. Chopper walked up to Goku with a look of having a million questions, but he took a deep breath and composed himself. Goku, what was that senzu bean and where did you find it? Chopper said as Goku clicked the bottle and it formed back into a capsule in his hands. It's a mystical bean that allows the user to be instantly healed and replenish their energy and strength. In my world, a friend of mine called Corrine made these for me and my friends whenever we went out fighting any bad guys threatening to destroy the world, Goku said, putting the capsule into his pocket. Chopper asked how many more senzu beans were in the bottle. Well, it would keep making more because this bottle was given to me by my brilliant friend Bulma from Capsule Corporation. She invented this bottle to make copies of whatever is put into it. It's a real lifesaver, Goku said as looked out front and smiled happily. Look, it must be Battle Island. Goku pointed outwards and everyone else turned around, were cheering that Goku was right and they were nearing close to Battle Island. Full steam ahead, let's go. Luffy raised his fist into the air as they sped up closer and closer to the island. The island was gorgeous. It illuminated many colorful and bright lights that shined across the front of the island. It read, "Welcome challengers." The cruise ship docked near the boarding side and walked off to see a bunch of butlers dressed in suits hauling their boats safely into the harbor. Maids came rushing towards them with hot towels and large plates and asked if the crew would want some to wash their faces, and the crew took some. Sanji had hearts for eyes when the maids came and wiped off dirt that was across his face, and Chopper had to help prevent him from losing a lot of blood like last time. Welcome to Battle Island, Straw Hat Pirates. We will help escort you into your rooms and bring you to the sign-up sheet for the men's division team. I'm sorry to say that weapons aren't allowed, one of the butlers said, pointing towards Zoro's 3 swords. Then I guess I'm out, Zoro sighed and let the butler continue. Please, if there is anything you request, do not hesitate to ask. The butler smiled as a bunch of maids and butlers came out of their ships with their belongings. We will bring your personal belongings to your rooms, please follow me, the butler said as the crew followed him. Up top there was a balcony and a figure peeked out and looked down and was watching Goku. He smiled deviously. You finally came, our time will come, son Goku, just you wait, the figure thought as he turned around and walked away from view of the balcony. The crew was amazed to see how gorgeous the island really was. Jazz players were blasting music as thousands of people were dancing to the beat. Confetti was being thrown down from the sky. Brook couldn't help himself and smiled and nodded to the rhythm. Many dancers took to the floor with their partners as they were dancing wildly and having the time of their lives. Alcohol was being passed around as they were dancing. The crew turned around to see near the front of the harbor there was a beach that stretched outwards for miles with thousands of people in it, and still a third hasn't been covered up. Its sand was clear as if it had been cleaned every day it is used, even if it wasn't used. The waves were crashing down towards the beach. Many had jumped into the waters to surf, while others either walked on the beach to take in the scenery or lie in the soft sand and reminisce with their friends about their younger days. The crew walked further into the island and saw the largest shopping mall they had ever seen. Even Goku was amazed at the size of the shopping, and it was at least 3 times bigger than the ones he's ever visited in his world. Nami's eyes had stars in it as she saw the many beautiful dresses and clothes racked together with so many half prices listed on them. We have to come back here again. Nami yelled happily, causing everyone to smile. Yes, this place is very special to us and we hope you enjoy everything we have to offer to each and every one of you. The butler smiled and continued to walk them up into the grand palace. It wasn't as big as King Neptune's palace, but it was pretty grand to them all. They were led to their own rooms. The butler gave each one of them their keys and allowed them to room and asked them to get ready to sign up for the tournament. Eventually Goku and the crew got used to their rooms and started off to find the sign-up sheet. Goku was walking faster than everyone else and turned to the corner and immediately came back. His face turned white as if he saw a ghost. Goku, what's WRO? Usopp was about to say when he was silenced by Goku. Shish. Some of the Shichibukais are here. Goku said, worrying that if they start a conflict now, they might get kicked off the island before they could join the tournament. Relax, Goku, watch this. Luffy grinned as he walked past the corner, stopped in front of some of the Shichibukais who were standing there. It was Kuma Bartholomew, Doflamingo, Moria Gecko, and Teach. D. Marshall, funny seeing you here, Luffy said, grinning as he walked in front of the group. Goku watched closely. Even the slightest movement of the Shichibukais attacking his captain, he would go in for the attack. But his surprise, he saw the Shichibukais smile and shake hands with Luffy. Goku was shocked to see them shaking hands as if he and Luffy had never fought against them 2 years ago. Trying to be Pirate King not enough for you? You're being greedy, Luffy, one of the Shichibukai smirked. The rest of the crew walked up to greet the few Shichibukais that were there. Goku still was shocked to see this. He was told they don't get along together and now it looks as if they had been old friends finally united again. Eventually the Shichibukais left and the crew turned to look at Goku, who was still flabbergasted to what he had witnessed. They explained to him when the island had started the dragon tournament, a law was decreed that none shall arrest or attack each other in the island before or after the tournament. Everyone here is to be treated and respected like a guest, not a thug or corrupt person. If they are caught trying to break the rule, they will be escorted off the island and punished with a heavy fine. Even pirates had to follow this rule. Another rule is marine soldiers are not allowed anywhere near the island for any reason. They can arrest pirates once the pirates are out of a mile distance from the island. So even the title Dragon King or Queen can be given to anyone, including Shichibukais, Goku asked, to which everyone nodded. Sweet. It would be awesome to have another rematch with them. Goku grinned as he and the crew started off towards the sign-up sheet and then off to the dining hall for a mandatory meeting for all who is participating in the tournament. Thousands of people crowded into the hall and went to their seat. They were entertained by a choir of singers who in sync played the most beautiful song anyone had ever heard. Eventually the speaker came and went on stage. Welcome to the 87th Dragon Tournament. The speaker yelled as everyone cheered and clapped. This year will definitely be one to remember since many well-known pirates and Shichibukais have come to participate in this tournament, the speaker said before speaking up again. Before we can have the tournament, we must have you pass our first and last test, the fitness test. You will have to start from the far side of the island and must return to the finish line, which is in this room. Since the women's division ended, this will only be the men's division. Whoever makes it back will be able to participate in the tournament. The speaker said, once again I hope you enjoy our island and good luck to all of you for tomorrow's test, the speaker said before he left the stage. Goku and the rest of the crew got up and went to their separate rooms and found a large amount of food waiting on them. Goku and Luffy from their separate rooms instantly smiled as soon as they saw the large pile of food. Everyone was having a good time when a couple of people were sneaking past the guards and into the control room. They had a patch on their arms that showed a skull with 2 swords crossed in an X form with 2 purple wings near the skull. It was the infamous criminal organization Baroque Works. The last of them, the code names Billions to be exact. They had heard the Straw Hat Pirates had arrived as well as some of the Shichibukai. The Billions knew they had to be eliminated. Make sure every turret is offline when our assault begins. No one shall live, one of the code name Billions said. They began to circle around the entire island and destroyed any type of weapon, and once they were done, they left the island to plan their assault on the island later. Once the daybreak came, Goku woke up to head to the training room that was in front of the palace. The fitness test was going to happen tomorrow, so he wanted to train a little before the test. He pulled out a capsule and clicked it and threw it onto the floor. Immediately 4 red tubes were lying on the floor for Goku to use. He put them on his arms and legs and put the gravity to 500x times Earth's gravity and started to train extensively until he felt sore. He then transformed into a Super Saiyan and he was going at it again. Impressive Goku, you've gotten much stronger the last time I saw you, but that doesn't change anything. I will have my vengeance, a voice said quietly. The cloaked figure was watching Goku from a far distance and was waiting for his chance against Goku. Goku felt an energy presence near him, someone familiar to him in his world but who he thought. Goku turned around to look at the position he felt the energy and found nothing there. The cloaked figure had disappeared. Goku shrugged it off and went on to do his training again. Goku stayed for at least 2 hours before he felt hungry and wanted something to eat. He reverted the tubes back into the capsule and went into the buffet hall where he found Luffy stuffing his face with plates full of food. Hey Goku, where were you? I thought you would be here eating but you weren't. Luffy said, still stuffing his face. Goku smiled. Yeah, I just came out of the training room, now I'm hungry. Anything good? Goku asked. Luffy pointed to the food courts that were piling with more food. Goku took one bite before he sighed and smiled at Luffy. Excuse me Luffy, I have very important business to take care of, Goku said as he walked off to the food court as Luffy was laughing out loud. Soon, Goku went out to the town with the jazz music and was enjoying the music. It felt very hypnotic to him, and Goku ate and listened to the music, enjoying his time there. Many females surrounded Goku asking him to dance with him since they all knew he was from the Straw Hat Pirate crew and wanted to meet a famous pirate in person. Goku slowly accepted the females' request and was dancing throughout the night. The next day came and it was time for the fitness test. Each participant had got to the starting line on the far side of the island. The previous speaker from the dining hall came up to the stage. Welcome to the fitness test everyone. The speaker spoke. Each of these males will race from here all the way back to the dining hall. The people who make it back will be able to participate in the tournament, but it won't be easy as there will be different challenges set across the island that you must pass in order to get to the dining hall. Anything is legal in this race folks, and good luck to you all. The speaker yelled as the crowd watching the race from a stadium on a screen showing all the participants. Nami, Robin, Usopp, Chopper, and Zoro were watching from the stadium. I wonder who'll make it to the stadium first. Robin smiled watching her friends through the screen getting ready for the race. It might be Goku, Luffy or Sanji. Brook might just get lucky and get in the dining hall, Nami said. Well, I want to know, who's the Dragon Queen? Usopp said, turning to his friends who all told him they didn't know as well. Oh, you don't know who the Dragon Queen is? A voice said behind them. They turned around to see a guy smiling at them. You know who the queen is? Chopper said and the guy nodded. Yeah, it's back with the others. Goku, Luffy, Sanji and Brook were at the starting line getting ready when they heard the countdown. Now thousands of participants were getting ready. Luffy punched the floor and his rubber body started to turn a light pink. Second gear, Luffy said as smoke started to radiate off him. 3, 2, 1, go. The speaker shouted and instantly Luffy started off with a huge burst of speed, knocking almost everyone off their feet. Luffy was on a huge lead until he saw a road taking multiple ways. He decided to take the road on the far right and headed off there. Goku ran up forwards and took the door in the middle while Sanji took the left along with Brook. With Goku, he ran into a dark room that was pitch black, making it impossible for him to see. Goku walked around slowly trying to find an exit but couldn't. Dad? A voice was heard echoing the room, nearly taking Goku by surprise. He sensed the room but couldn't find a source of energy near him, so he walked around trying to find the source of the voice. Dad, it's me, your son. The voice echoing around the room again. Goku wasn't sure which way it was coming from since the voice was bouncing all around the room. He stuck out his hand and a blue energy beam emitted from his hand as a source of light. Immediately the walls were shaking and tearing apart, nearly freaking Goku out. No light. The voice screamed as a chair flew towards Goku, to which he used his hand to chop it, causing the room to become dark again. Who are you? Goku asked calmly, trying to move slowly until the room started dim light at the end of the room. Goku ran towards the light and walked out, horrified to what he saw. A world full of destruction. Everything was destroyed. Buildings were falling apart as ashes was pouring downwards as if it were snow. Goku had composed himself and walked around the place looking if there were any survivors. Help, please, a weak voice was trailing nearby that Goku heard it and was rushing towards a building that had collapsed. He picked up the broken pieces of the building and threw it aside and found a little girl with blood covering her as she wept silently away from his view. Hey, it's fine, don't worry, I'll help you out, Goku said as he knelt down and reached towards the girl but instantly stopped. The girl was still crying, which then turned into a maniacal laugh as she turned her head all the way around, causing a cracking noise coming from her neck. She fell to the ground with hard thud and muttered something that made Goku's spine tingle. "You could have saved them," was all the girl said before she closed her eyes. Goku was not sure what he had saw but knew he had to keep going. Goku got up and walked some more before instantly he turned around to see not a city anymore but a destroyed forest. It was burning and would not stop. Goku wanted to stop the fire but knew he had to keep moving. He saw a child near a tree with his head down away from his view, weeping silently. Goku didn't know what to do. He just walked up to the boy when the boy sprang up and jumped onto Goku, knocking him down, staring at him with a chilling smile that would have scared any other person. "Why did you abandon us?" The boy grinned evilly before he flew back towards the tree, hitting his head first, causing him to slump on the tree and bleeding out of his head. Goku was motionless to what he saw but didn't understand what it was showing. Goku slowly got up and walked forwards again until a voice was booming around him. "Incredible, nobody had gotten this far. What makes you so special?" The voice spoke as it soon morphed into a shadow creature staring at Goku with no signs of life in it. "Who are you?" Goku asked as he was staring into the eyes of the shadow. "I'm a nightmare that no one wishes to receive. I'm something you would describe as a chilling feeling when it arrives," the shadow spoke. "I'm the man called you would call death," the shadow spoke as he raised his hand outwards and a large energy blade shot out of it. They were both staring at each other until Death smiled. "I've never seen anyone relaxed seeing death. Man tries to say they aren't afraid but in reality it eats at them for the rest of their lives. I wonder if you're just the same," Death said, causing Goku to smirk. "That's right. Man is afraid of death. You can't escape it but you learn to accept it," Goku said as he lowered his defense, causing Death to dash towards him with his blade out ready to swing it at Goku's head. Goku had remained motionless, watching Death coming closer and closer towards him. Death raised his energy blade and swung towards Goku's neck but immediately stopped. The blade was near millimeter from Goku's neck but he didn't even flinch. It would have definitely killed Goku if Death hadn't stopped. He was wide-eyed, surprised to see Goku hadn't tried to move out of the way like the others who had met him. "Why didn't you move? Aren't you afraid of dying?" Death spoke, not letting go of the energy blade from Goku's neck. Goku chuckled a little before he spoke. "Afraid? No, I'm not afraid of dying. I've already died many times before to the point I consider it an old friend." Goku smiled slightly, causing Death to move back a little. "But aren't you man? What about man being afraid of death?" Death spoke. "True, I am man, but like I said before, you learn to accept it, and eventually learn to conquer those fears," Goku said with pride in his voice. Death chuckled a little. "You're one of a kind, Goku, an honorable person if I say so. I wish there were more people like you," Death said as he bowed in respect towards Goku, causing Goku to give him a thumbs up. Death walked towards Goku and shined a light into his eyes, blinding him for a moment. "Goodbye, Goku, I hope to see you again," Death said as he was chuckling to himself. Goku couldn't see for a while until the light stopped and it was pitch black. Suddenly Goku's eyes returned to normal and he found himself lying on the floor. He slowly got up, realizing it must have been a dream. Whatever it was, it must have taken a while, Goku thought to himself when he found an open door leading to the next challenge and ran through it. He ran out of the room and into the next challenge, a maze. As Goku ran into the front, he saw his friends there trying to find a way to get to other side but always managed to come right back to the middle. "Hey guys, you're all here," Goku yelled out as he was running towards them. They turned around to see Goku running towards them. "Goku, you made it. We're stuck here and we can't find a way out," Sanji said as Goku reached them. Brook was seen rushing around each passage as smoke was blowing behind him. "It's impossible. There's no way in," Brook said as he came running in and out of each passage. "It's like they're built to screw with me," Brook said angrily. Goku tried himself and saw that they were telling the truth, and every passage he went into was another way for him to come right back into the beginning. "Weird, I don't understand how it works," Goku said to the crew as they were trying to find a way back with the other crew. "Incredible. Only 4 have made it so far. Next up is the spinning maze. A maze where it is time to move you to the other side. Fail to find the other side on time and the maze changes direction and leads you right back to the beginning to try again," the speaker said on the stage for everyone on the stadium to hear. "Incredible, how will they be able to find the other side before the time limit ends?" Chopper said as the rest of the crew had no idea as well. "They're just going to need to keep trying until they find a way, I guess," Nami said. Back to Goku and the rest of the crew, Goku had an idea. "Anything is legal, right? How about I toss you Luffy into the maze and you use your rubber powers and stretch to the end side and I will IT the rest of us to you location, Goku said. It's the only plan we got, let's do. Sanji grinned as they were preparing the plan. Luffy braced himself as Goku grabbed him by the shirt and was ready to throw him. You ready, Luffy? Brook said, to which Luffy grinned and gave a thumb up. Throw him. Brook yelled as Goku started spinning around along with Luffy and then released him, sending him flying into the maze. Luffy was flying in the air when he saw the other side. I see it. Luffy yelled and then stretched his arm towards the other side and landed with a roll. He called out saying he reached the other side and Goku put his 2 fingers to his head. Grab my shoulder, Goku said as they IT out of the front of the maze to the end where Luffy was. Alright, let's keep going. Luffy grinned as they all started to run towards the next challenge. Challenge after challenge, Goku and the rest of his friends were beating the course easily. They were walking until they saw the dining hall very close and knew they were close to finishing the course. They all looked at each other and grinned knowing they finally were done with the fitness test. It tried affecting them, physically, emotionally, mentally, psychologically, etc., but they overcame all of the odds and now they were eligible to participate in the tournament. So want to have a race? Luffy said, to which everyone agreed. They all positioned themselves for the race to the finish line. 3, Luffy said, turning into gear 2, 2, Sanji said, 1, Brook said, go. Goku shouted as they all dashed towards the dining hall. Luffy had a head start using gear 2 inches, not this time Luffy. Goku shouted as he dashed past Luffy, increasing his speed faster than Luffy could. I'll see you at the finish line. Goku shouted behind him as he rushed towards the dining hall and finished first before the other 3. Luffy, then Sanji, then Brook, finishing last. Goku had came in second as Luffy was third, Sanji fourth and Brook coming in fifth. The reporter near the finishing line said. Second place. Who was first? Goku asked as went up to the reporter. A cloaked man who called himself Anonymous flew from the beginning all the way here. When we said all was legal, we didn't think he was going to fly all the way here. Goku wondered who the cloaked man was and would he see him again. Eventually some of the Shichibukais came as well, also eligible to participate in the tournament. Then less than 100 made it before the fitness test were called over. Now that the fitness test is over, you will have 2 days to rest before the start of the tournament, the speaker said to the participants, who all understood and went back to their rooms to be greeted with a large amount of food and a personal tailor for every male that was participating in the tournament. Goku didn't understand why he needed a suit for a tournament, but the tailor explained this was just to show the final contestants in a good sportsmanship by having them all come together in one show and also reveal the Dragon Queen to the contestants who will compete to take the title for Dragon King. Goku nodded and allowed the tailor to measure him for the suit. So would you like a lean look, or fitted build look? The tailor asked, to which Goku transformed into Super Saiyan, causing his build to increase a little and nearly gave the tailor a heart attack. Goku grinned. I guess I'll work with a fitted look, Goku said with a smile as the tailor slowly measured Goku again for the suit. The next day came and Goku and his friends decided to go exploring the island to see anything else that could entertain them until the tournament. What they didn't know was the Baroque works officers were in the island as well, destroying any type of weapons defense the island had left. The Billions believed that they destroyed their entire defense the first time they entered the island, but soon found out from their inside spies, there were more underground in the island. The code name Billions, some of them not all, came back through their inside operatives and disguised themselves as guards for the upcoming tournament. They walked around until one of their informants brought them to a restricted area where all the weapons that were. Excellent, now take all of it and dispose of it quickly, one of the operatives said to the others as they were picking up the weapons. Are you sure that's all we need to do? We need to make sure all of them pay and none of them leave the island during our assault, another operative spoke while carrying the weapons away. Don't worry about it, I've got it all covered. Now all we need to do is hurry this up. The operative spoke as he and everyone else walked out the restricted area carrying the loaded weapons and off the island. Let them have their fun for a while, after all, when Project Sea Smoke is in full power we will unleash it on them. The operative laughed maniacally. Back with the crew, Goku and everyone else found a new place they didn't see when they first arrived, called the Jungle of Infinite Terror. Everyone except Luffy, Sanji, Zoro, Goku, Robin and Frankie had a look of sheer terror just looking at the jungle. It was all dark with no noise being emitted, that just breathing would be enough to cut the silence. This place is scary, Chopper cried out, hiding behind Robin's leg. Nami agreed. Yeah, we should head back, I don't like it here. Sanji ran in front. I will protect you with my life, Nami-san. Sanji said with hearts for eyes. Robin looked up to see a board describing the jungle. Look here, it explains what's inside the jungle of infinite terror. Apparently it affects the mind of anyone who enters into it and causes vivid hallucinations that seem real to the person but isn't. Robin read aloud for the crew to hear. Now we have to go in. Luffy yelled out, but to be later punched to the ground by Nami. No, we don't. Didn't you hear what Robin said? We can't go through, but it appears we can go under, Nami said, pointing to a trapdoor near the crew. We can go through there. Apparently it's a quick way to get to any part of the island in a few minutes, so it may help out in case of a setup with Marines. Nami said, looking at the crew. Luffy got up with a sad look. And I thought we could go in there too. Luffy said. Goku smiled and pat Luffy on the back. Hey, at least we still get to participate in the tournament, right? That should count for something. Goku said, causing Luffy to crack a smile. Yeah, I guess you're right. Let's go back, it's getting boring out here. Luffy said, walking back to the front of the island. Looks like our captain's back, Sanji said, lighting a cigarette up as they all followed their captain back to where all the other contestants were. They went to meet up with a few of the contestants and were discussing what they are expecting with the upcoming tournament, until one man came running down towards the entire group of people with a flushed face. All of you who are participating in the tournament, the match has changed. Please look at the board when you arrive at the dining hall. The man said, and as soon as he said this he ran off. Well, that guy was weird, Zoro said, staring down the guy running away, and the crew nodded and soon headed off towards the dining hall to see the new rules. As they got there they saw multiple people crowded around the board, making it impossible to see it. I got it, Goku said as he flew upwards and over the crowds to take the board over to his crew, leaving everyone watching him in confusion as to what he was doing. Thanks, Goku, Nami said as she took a better look at the board and then turned around to the crew with a flushed face as well. What did it say, Nami? Robin asked, to which Nami took a minute before she responded. This never happened in the tournament, but apparently there is too many contestants participating, so the only option was to make an all-out royal with the entire group facing each other for 10 minutes. So the ring has a pit of water that's outside of the ring, so to get eliminated is to get pushed, punched or whatever into the pit of water. You can do whatever to stay in the ring, but no weapons are allowed. Once the 10 minutes are up, the last remaining contestants will go on to the 1 versus 1 tournament, Nami said, which left the crew speechless. So this is a first. Goku spoke up, to which everyone nodded to him and he smiled and clenched his fist in his view. All right. Then we must train harder for this royal, Goku said gleefully. Nami sighed. You can just turn into Super Saiyan and beat them all in 5 minutes. Goku shook his head. Not really. There are people here that I've met who aren't from Earth. Some of them have scary power that are far beyond the ones I've seen here. There's a few here who can take me on in Super Saiyan 3, and that's saying something, Goku said as the crew stared at him. There are people who can take you on at Super Saiyan 3. Chopper yelled out, to which Goku nodded. What the hell? And I thought you were the strongest in the universe, Sanji said, to which Goku grinned. Well, I'm strong, but I'm not number 1 in the universe. That title goes to Champa, the god of destruction. He can take me on at god form and beat me while using 80%. The crew was shocked to hear that someone managed to beat Goku in a fight. They always seen him overcome everyone he met, so this was huge. Well, you might as well train then, just in case for the tournament. We only have 1 day now, so you guys better start training if you want to last in the tournament, Nami said to every one of her friends participating in the tournament. The crew nodded and the few of them who were participating walked off into the training room to get some training done. Goku grabbed a capsule and clicked it and threw it into the ground, and appeared the 4 red tubes. He put them on and turned Super Saiyan and started training with Brook while Sanji and Luffy were sparring off. After an hour, Brook, Sanji and Luffy were exhausted as they had trained extensively with Goku and decided they had enough of training for the day. Ah, come on guys. We only had an hour of training, Goku said as he returned back to base form and walked off with them. Sorry Goku, but our body isn't capable to take so much like yours, Sanji said, walking towards the dining hall to get some food. The 4 of them met up with the rest of their crew and sat down to eat as they were entertained by a band of musicians. Brook couldn't help himself and ran towards them and brought out his instrument and started playing along with them, causing the crowds of people to burst out cheering as Brook was playing very well. The crew was enjoying themselves to the blaring music that they decided to dance until the end of the night. The crew got tired until they eventually left one by one to their dorms to sleep. Goku was the last as he was eating 10 sandwiches before he went off to get some sleep for the royal on the next day. Goku smiled. Alright. I can't wait to get started tomorrow, Goku thought as he went into his bed and fell asleep. The next day came and the spectators shuffled their way into the stands as the contestants walked into the arena waiting for their mark to start the battle. Goku saw his friends and waved to them as they got ready for the battle. They saw him and waved back as they headed towards the opposite direction. Goku saw the few Shichibukais and walked towards them. Hey, great to see you all again, Goku said, holding out his hand towards the Shichibukai. They just stared back at him, making him feel nervous for a second. I hope what happened 2 years ago doesn't affect us today, Goku said, still holding out his hand. The Shichibukais had a smile that didn't look considerate but more of a forced one. No, don't worry about it. That was 2 years ago and things have changed, so let's just forget that and carry on to the future, one of the Shichibukai said as they finally shook his hand. Sweet. Good luck to you all, Goku said, to which they responded good luck to him as well and departed away. As the contestants were getting prepared, a speaker got onto the loudspeaker. Good morning all. And welcome to the 87th Dragon Tournament. This one is going to be special as you get another event along with the tournament. The speaker said, now the rules are simple. The event will last 10 minutes and the only way to get eliminated is to get knocked into the water pit that is located around the arena. Once the 10 minutes are up, the last remaining fighters will head off towards the final tournament where the last fighter will be declared Dragon King, the speaker said, causing the crowds to cheer. Good luck to you all and now the tournament shall begin. Boom! Everyone turned their heads towards the side where they heard an explosion and saw a huge mushroom cloud appearing towards the front of the island and flying debris coming towards the stands. The crowds were screaming as they pointed upwards to see multiple missiles flying towards them. Protect the crowds, Goku shouted towards the contestants and they nodded as all of them jumped into the air, taking on a different missile, using their powers to destroy the missiles as they were coming towards the stadium. Boom boom boom, the explosions of the missiles were loud as each contestants were blowing up the missiles. Gomu Gomu no Gatling gun, Luffy shouted as he launched multiple fists towards the missiles, causing a red explosion glow to occur multiple times. The cloaked figure sped through each missile and flew away before the explosion could burn his cloak away, and was doing this multiple times. Sanji kicked furiously at the missiles with unrelenting speeds, leaving nothing to waste. Brook sliced as many missiles he could before it could reach the stadium. A few missiles passed the contestants and Goku put his fingers to his head and it back down and extended his hands outwards. Ha! Goku shouted as he shot multiple key beams at the remaining missiles, destroying them instantly in the air, causing a huge explosion, shaking the island a little. The missiles had continued away from the stadium and around the island, causing huge wildfires. Water was flowing into large holes that were appearing in the island. Mountains were being crushed as the shockwaves were tearing them apart. The island was shaking as each missile was hitting it head-on. Goku and everyone landed back down towards the stadium and were watching the horrific sight occur. Goku turned around to see the stands with people having some minor injuries from the debris flying towards them. Goku flew towards his friends to regroup at the stands. They were all circling around Chopper as he was helping as many people as he could who were injured. What the hell was that? Nami yelled out as the explosions were blaring all over the island, continuing to shake the island. Don't know, but it's happening over there, Luffy pointed out towards the front of the island. The crew all turned their heads to see smoke covering the island. As soon as it receded, they saw thousands upon thousands of ships near the bay of the island. It had a flag on the ship as it had a skull with two swords crossed and an X form with two purple wings near the skull. It was the infamous criminal organization Baroque Works. Robin took a step back in horror. No, it can't be Baroque Works, Robin yelled out, causing every head to look towards the ships. Goku was confused. Who's Baroque Works? Goku asked, to which Zoro was the first to reply. Baroque Work isn't a person but was a criminal organization created by the former Shichibukai, Crocodile, to take over the kingdom of Alabasta. The organization accomplished many different tasks over a period of several years for that one purpose, but ended in failure after we had stopped its plan from occurring. Robin finally spoke up. It also consisted of many people working under code names. It was up to the billions, but many have left the organization after its downfall in Alabasta, but it appears there are some billions who want to revive the organization. Billions, Goku said in shock. He remembered the Red Ribbon Army and how it had millions of people in its army, but billions. He couldn't imagine taking them all on as a kid. Yeah, but we beat them once, we can beat them again, Luffy said, gritting his teeth and clenching his teeth. In the front of the island, ha ha ha. Now our plan is in full effect. Nobody is to escape here. One of the operatives laughed maniacally. Sir, Look up in the sky, another operative yelled, pointing up. The operative looked up and glared angrily to what he saw. It was the contestants jumping from the arena down towards the front of the island. Goku, Luffy, Brook, Sanji, Zoro, Frankie and Usopp were in the front of the entire contestants. Soon the Shichibukais joined up with the crew, and the cloaked figure remained in the air motionless watching the entire conflict occur. Oi, I thought we got rid of you once and for all. Luffy shouted out towards the ships just to hear a chilling laugh. Get rid of us. The operative yelled out, we'll never go down until you're all beaten. Our entire army is here to make sure you don't leave here alive. The operative spoke as the thousands of ships entered into the port, releasing the billions of people inside the ships. The contestants were shocked to see that many people inside the ships but remained motionless. Masks up. The operative roared, to which the billions pulled out a mask. What are they doing? Sanji said. The billions put on their masks and were chuckling a little. The contestants were bracing themselves for the fight of their life. Release it. The operative shouted, and as soon as he said this, thousands of cannonballs flew from the ships towards the front of the island but missed every single contestant. That was a horrible shot. Zoro said mockingly, but Usopp had a horrified face. They did that on purpose, I saw how they angled it. Usopp said, looking down at the cannonballs which now glowed red. Get away. Usopp shouted towards the contestants, but it was too late. It exploded, emitting a smoke-like substance to be poured out from each cannonball. As soon as it came, every contestant that has a devil fruit powder fell to the ground feeling weak for some unknown reason, including the crew. Luffy. Brook. Goku shouted, seeing his friends down on the ground. Ack. What is this stuff? Luffy said, choking out the words. I don't feel so well, Brook said. Goku turned around to see some of the contestants, including the Shichibukais, down on the ground. What's going on? Zoro said, trying to pick up his captain. The operative started laughing. Don't you get it? This stuff is modified sea stone. Normally it would have been stone, but after months of modifying it, it turned into a powerful weapon. Now anyone with a devil fruit who inhales it will be weakened severely, and it'll keep getting worse the more you inhale it. Damn you, Luffy said, gritting his teeth, but then coughed out blood as it was really hurting bad when he inhaled the smoke. Zoro, use your 3-style sword to spin into a tornado to lessen the effects of the smoke. You do the same, Sanji, Goku said. They nodded and started spinning furiously, as did Goku, which created a huge tornado to absorb the smoke in the island, drag it away. It had helped out, but the effects were already in progress as the contestants were weakened by the smoke. Can you still fight? Sanji asked to the contestants, to which they all shouted yeah. Goku asked Luffy if he could fight as well. Hell yeah, I can. Luffy gritted his teeth. The contestants were hurting but were still ready to fight. The operative glared angrily at the contestants. Bring him down here now. He shouted, to which another nodded. Operative nodded and went into the ship for a minute. Everyone was silent, waiting on who was coming. The silence broke once the door creaked open and everyone saw a man rubbing his eyes tiredly. Is it time already? I guess that payment will have to wait, the man spoke. Goku was surprised to see how the man looked. He was definitely not from Earth, and to add on to it, Goku felt the man had an insane amount of power. The Shichibukais were shocked to see who it was. It's one of Hit's elite assassins, the man worth 1.5 billion berries, Nix. The Shichibukai said. Nix, huh? I guess he'll be my opponent sooner or later. Goku smirked and cracked his knuckles, preparing for the all-out war. Surrender now and we'll make your deaths quick and painless, the operative said with an evil look. Luffy cracked his knuckles. Surrender. That word just doesn't work for me, Luffy said. The operative gritted his teeth. Fine. Billions, engage now. The operative shouted. Soon the billions charged towards the front of the island. I'll take the 10,000 on the left and you take the 10,000 on the right, Goku said. Forget that. I'll take them all on. Luffy said as he transformed into Gear 2 and grinned. That's the spirit. Goku smiled as they all sprinted towards each other in the middle, and the clash was on. Luffy increased his fists, causing it to turn a darker color, and slammed it down onto thousands of the code names billions, causing them to go flying all around. Sanji kicked furiously downwards, slamming down onto the billions' faces to the ground. Zoro caused a tornado with his 3-sword style, sweeping up as many billions as he could, causing cuts to appear around them who were caught in his attack. Brook took out his hidden blade and started to dash around, cutting as many billions as he could. Frankie took a giant rock with his massive strength and threw it up into the air. He then proceeded to jump into the air to kick it as hard as he could back down to the ground, causing the rock to split into multiple pieces, flying towards the billions and send them down to the ground hard. The Shichibukais engaged as well. They were zooming left and right, taking down as many billions as they could, working together as a unit, which surprised a lot of people because the Shichibukais were known to not work together. But because of the large amount of enemies they are encountering, they needed to work together again. But for the cloaked figure, he simply watched the entire scene play. Why should I get involved? I enjoy this sight anyways, humans fighting each other just to be the dominant force. It simply amazes me they are still roaming the earth. The figure thought as he turned his eyes towards Goku fighting alongside the contestants. Son Goku, your good-hearted nature still proceeds to make you fight for the people you care about. Not only will that be your downfall, but I'll make sure to take it all away when I get my hands on you, the figure thought as he dashed away from the scene and away from the island until the whole situation would be over. Goku was dashing all over the place, chopping at the billions pressure point, causing them to go limp and pass out. He was doing this until the island started shaking again. He looked up to see the ships were firing missiles again down onto the island and towards the arena where the spectators were still there, being aided by Chopper, Robin, and Nami. No, Goku said as he flew towards the arena and extended his hand and shot more ki blasts towards the missiles, causing them to explode. The stands full of people covered their faces as the explosion had caused debris to fly around them. This is insane. I can't work in this state if more things are going to injure more people. Chopper shouted towards Goku. I know. Get the people inside the dining hall where they'll be safe. I'll teleport you there, but then on you must help them out, Goku said, to which Chopper nodded. Everyone linked hands and one of them grabbed onto his shoulder as he tea away to the dining hall and away from the fight. Here, Goku said as he pulled out the bottle full of senzu beans to hand it to Robin. Give it to anyone who has any serious injuries, Goku said as he turned around. The place started to shake a little as Goku was powering up. Ah! Goku shouted, and instantly a golden explosion came from Goku, causing everyone who looked at him to go blind momentarily. After their visions came back, they saw Goku had transformed. His black hair had turned golden and was sticking upwards, his eyes turned a teal green, and his body glowed and was engulfed in a golden flame. Goku turned into a Super Saiyan. He turned his head towards everyone. We'll win this, I can guarantee that, but I just need to speed things up. Please be safe, all of you, Goku smiling a little. Everyone nodded and Goku turned back to the door that was open, showing the carnage that was happening in the front of the island. Goku took a deep breath in and his flame increased a little. Alright. Let's do this. Goku shouted as he dashed out of the room with a burst of speed that knocked everyone to the ground with the amount of force he used to fly back to the front of the island. Goku arrived back at the front of the island within a second and started to fire many ki blasts towards the ships that were firing missiles at the island. Some of the ships exploded and stopped firing, but as Goku was going to fire more ki blasts at the ships, he sensed a person behind him and backflipped, allowing him to see an energy blade come near millimeters from his chest if he hadn't moved. He looked down to see that it was Nix who tried to hit him from behind. The two warriors turned towards each other motionless as they stared at one another. Didn't you know it's rude to attack someone from behind? Goku said with a sarcastic tone, but was keeping his defense up and ready. Humor, often used as a coping mechanism in high-stress situations, Nix said, showing no emotions. I believe your name is Son Goku, is it? Your name is quite popular around the universe as the man who fought against Champa, the god of destruction, and lived to tell the tale of it. Nix said, staring at Goku. Also Beerus, Goku mumbled to himself but still paid attention to Nix. Your reputation exceeds to what you already know. Most of the universe is terrified to what you're capable of, but I know what you really are, Nix said. You're just a man looking for his next fight, as if he was waiting for his meal to be presented to himself. But you have the mindset to protect those who you believe are worth protecting for, but why? Nix asked. Goku stayed silent for a moment. Why I protect people? That should be an obvious answer. I protect those who can't protect themselves. I protect people I care about, even those I don't. Goku said, I try and let enemies live and escape because I believe that people deserve a second chance for anything they've done, but only a second chance, Goku said. Nix powered up his energy blade hand and sighed. He moved a little, to which Goku noticed, but as soon as he saw this, Nix instantly dashed towards Goku, which took him by surprise, and was stabbed in the chest with the energy blade as it went through his body. Goku choked out blood with a shocked look as he saw how fast Nix was. No wonder he was an elite assassin. Then you're a fool for doing so, Nix said as he pushed in the blade further, causing Goku to be in more pain and blood to drip from Goku's wound as he was shaking a little. Goku. Luffy shouted as he saw his friend being stabbed. He tried to reach towards Goku but was intervened by the billions and couldn't get through. Goku was shaking a little as his body was weakening. He spit out more blood as Nix stabbed him again. Ah! Goku yelled out in pain as Goku held onto Nix's arm while still shaking. He looked up to see no expression coming from Nix. Goku gritted his teeth and tried to punch Nix, but it was a weak and slow punch, so Nix slowly moved his head away from the punch. Nix went close to Goku's ear. I will make sure you stay alive for a while and witness everyone you love die from my hands, then will I let you leave this earth, Nix said, moving his blade out of Goku's chest and smile for once. Goku's eyes widened before he moved his head down from anyone's view and he wasn't moving. I guess I'll have to kill you now instead, Nix said as he shot his energy blade hand towards Goku, who still wasn't moving. Goku! Luffy shouted as everyone stopped and was now watching the two in the air. Nix struck at Goku's body but his energy blade had snapped into two and Goku was still not looking up. Nix said in surprise to see his energy blade snap in half. He then smirked, trying to still stay alive. Well, let's try again, shall we? Nix said as he formed another energy blade and struck at Goku again, but the outcome was the same as the blade snapped. Relentlessly, Nix kept forming new blades stronger than the last at Goku, but it had no effect on him as he wasn't even paying attention to Nix. Nix was getting angry. He formed the strongest blade he could generate and jumped into the air. Look at me. You're done for. Nix yelled out as he was dashing down towards Goku, who still didn't look up. Nix lunged out his arm. Boom! An explosion occurred from the two in the air, causing dust to form around them. Everyone covered their eyes to avoid the dust hitting them. They soon opened their eyes to see the dust was receding and saw the shocked look of Nix's face. As they looked down, they were shocked as well. Goku was holding the energy blade in his hand and was holding it in place. He finally looked up but wasn't a Super Saiyan anymore but a god. His build was slimmer, his eyes and hair had turned red and his eyes glared with anger when he looked at Nix. Strike 2, was all Goku said to make Nix wince at the sheer tone of Goku's voice. Goku broke the energy blade and punched Nix in the face at full force, causing Nix to fly downwards to the sea and slam through. Goku was still bleeding from his wounds but he didn't care anymore. He was just standing there waiting for Nix to reappear from the ocean. The Shichibukai stood there in shock. He took on a 1.5 billion bounty as if he was just a nuisance. One of the Shichibukai spoke in disbelief. Look at his new look, he transformed into an even more power being, another Shichibukai said. But don't you remember what Nix said before? He said Son Goku had fought someone called a god of destruction. A god, for goodness sakes, another Shichibukai said in disbelief. Eventually Nix came out of the water and was gasping for air and rubbing his cheek to the spot where Goku had punched him. Nix rose back into the air and was staring at Goku in his new form. The Straw Hats cheered down on the ground as they saw their friend was alright and was still going to fight alongside them. Alright, now we get to see him fight in god form. Usopp thought as everyone on the ground had continued to fight. Goku stared coldly at Nix as he was flying back towards him. You should be proud of yourself, only Beerus and Champa have pushed me this far in battle before, Goku said as his god form aura increased in size. Beerus? Who's that? Nix asked, to which Goku smirked. Let's just say he's a neighboring god of destruction to this universe, Goku said, causing Nix not to understand fully. Ah, you gotta to be kidding me. He fought two gods of destructions. Zoro said in disbelief, to which Luffy nodded. Yeah, and I witnessed the entire thing too, Luffy said. I would die if I ever such a battle, Brook said. Oh wait. I'm already dead. Yo ho ho ho, Brook said, laughing as they were continuing their battle down on the ground. Nix started to laugh. I'm enjoying this very much, Son Goku. But with that injury of yours, you won't last much longer, Nix said, pointing to Goku's wound that Nix had caused in the first place. I'd say you have 30 minutes before you bleed out, Nix said, to which Goku smirked. Then I guess I have 15 minutes to beat you, 10 minutes to help my friends beat the billions in this war, and 5 minutes to bandage up my wound, but I'm sure I can do that in 2 inches, Goku said, getting in his stance. Overconfident, I'd say so myself. Nix said, getting in his stance, preparing to clash with Goku once again. Goku just chuckled a little. Nah, it's just stating the facts, Goku smirked. The war has begun. Gomu Gomu no, Gatling gun. Luffy yelled out as he repeatedly pounded as many Baroque's work members as he could, sending them flying. Hundreds of Baroque's members were flying in the air when a man was running up into the sky and in front of them, Diable Hambi. The man shouted as he kicked them multiple times, slamming them right back to the ground hard. Idiot. Those were mine. The man spoke as he came back down to the ground. It was Sanji. You snooze, you lose. Luffy grinned, angering Sanji even more. Then no more food for you. Sanji shouted and crossed his arms, to which took Luffy aback. What? No food. I'll die without it. Luffy shouted. Then you should have thought about it before taking my opponents. Sanji retorted, getting in Luffy's face as the two were shouting back and forth at each other angrily. As they were arguing, many Baroque's works members were watching at a distance with a tear of sweat behind their heads. Aren't we their opponents? One of the operatives said, to which another responded angrily, can't you see what they're doing? They're saying that we aren't even worthy opponents anymore. The audacity of those two, the operative shouted, causing the rest of the members to pump their fist angrily. Let's show them what we're made of. Another operative shouted. Yeah. All of them roared and started carrying weapons such as daggers, swords, guns, maces, and were running towards the two fools. We're your opponents, the members said, coming close to Sanji and Luffy, who stopped arguing to see the members raising their arms to strike down on them. Sanji and Luffy were side by side, bracing themselves for the attack, when they heard someone behind them. Kokuho o Tatsumaki, a man with a green bandana with 3 swords, jumped over Sanji and Luffy's head. It was Roronoa Zoro. Oh great, I'm being saved by him, Sanji muttered. Zoro had started spinning rapidly, causing a rush of wind to circle around him and form a massive tornado that started to engulf anything that was in its way, i.e. the Baroque's works members, completely annihilating them as they encountered the attack. Ah! The members screamed as the tornado was cutting them and was injuring them badly. When does it stop? One of the members shouted, and Zoro was the first to speak. When you reach the gates of hell, Zoro said as the tornado was released and was moving around the island, taking in more members who stood in its way. But Zoro wasn't done. He zipped around, cutting and slashing the Baroque's works members who didn't get sucked into the tornado and caused them to fall down writhing in pain. He skidded across the field to stop and then jumped into the air to do a 360-degree slash that had so much pressure that when it reached back on the island, it caused a large portion of the ground to crack due to the pressure. When the pressurized attack landed onto the island, it caused an explosion of air to rush all around, taking out anyone or anything that was near the vicinity. Zoro slammed back onto the ground and rushed forwards. Morons. Now's not the time to argue, we still have an army to beat here. Zoro said as he was still slashing and cutting the Baroque members. Moron. Says the guy who can't find directions for life. Sanji said as he lit up a cigarette and started to fight once again. Luffy went back to fighting as well. The three were side by side, rushing forward, taking down Baroque members left and right. On the opposite side, Frankie and Usopp were tag teaming, taking down as many enemies as they could as well. Usopp was sitting on top of Frankie's shoulder, shooting down targets, while Frankie was running around slamming into any Baroque members that he could see. Usopp was aiming his slingshot down at the Baroque members and prepared his shot and smiled. Special range attack. Exploding star. Usopp shouted as he shot a pellet down at the ground near the Baroque members, who covered their face in terror, thinking it was a bomb, but nothing happened. Huh? One of the Baroque members near the area said as they went near the pellet, and then all started laughing. You missed. And what kind of attack was that? The Baroque member said to Usopp and Frankie. Usopp smirked. I never miss, and I'd look again if I were you, Usopp said, pointing down to the pellet. One of the Baroque members said as they all looked down again and had a horrified look when they saw the pellet started to glow. The pellet busted open and shot a yellow beam into the air, shining the island a moment. Wait for it, Usopp said, smiling, looking up at the yellow beam in the air. Immediately the yellow beam split into multiple beams and started to fly downwards onto the ground, causing multiple explosions to occur in the front of the island, sending the Baroque's members around the place to go flying from the explosion. The Baroque members that weren't caught in the blast were running and screaming, trying to not get hit by the explosion. But it was bad idea. Frankie was still running around, slamming into as many as he could like a train, causing major internal injuries to the enemies. Super strong right. Frankie shouted as he extended his right fist, launching it from his arm attached to a chain towards a Baroque member and grabbing his legs. Next, Frankie rapidly spun the Baroque member around with his extended arm, causing the Baroque member to hit any other Baroque member that was in the area that Frankie was running towards. As Frankie was running around using the Baroque member to attack any other enemy, Usopp was continuously using his slingshot and impressive shooting skills to take down any Baroque member that Frankie couldn't reach with his swinging arm attack. Keep going, Frankie. Usopp cheered as he pumped his fist into the air. Aye aye, Usopp. Frankie shouted as pumped his fist into the air and continued his assault. The Baroque members were getting beaten badly, so they decided to change things up. Many of the Baroque members were now packing together trying to take on one contestant at a time, and it was successful as some of the contestants couldn't hold against the large group of people. Excellent, now we're making progress. One of the members said as they took down another contestant. Sir, there's an unidentified object in front of us, one of the operatives said, pointing in front of them. They looked forward and noticed a skeleton lying down on the floor. They rushed towards it thinking it was one of their operatives, but noticed it wasn't wearing their flag symbol. What happened to him? One of the Baroque members said, moving ever so slowly towards the skeleton. As they got closer, they noticed the skeleton had an afro along with colorful and high-end clothes. It has heart-shaped sunglasses, a yellow feather boa, a large ripped-up purple coat, a top hat with a giant crown on the brim, and orange-red trousers with a floral design. It also had a crack in front of the skull. As the Baroque members were moving closer to the skeleton, it immediately jumped up, nearly giving every single of the Baroque members a heart attack. It landed on the ground gracefully and started to speak. Funny you should say that. Yo ho ho ho, the skeleton spoke. It was Brook. It can speak. The Baroque members shouted in horror as they saw Brook moving around and dusting off dirt from his clothes. Well, that was definitely a bad place to sleep, wasn't it? Yo ho ho ho, Brook said, laughing as he stretched himself out. Who are you? One of the Baroque members said, trembling in his boots as Brook finally stopped stretching and straightened himself and looked up and pounded on his bony chest. I am Brook, a straw hat pirate, and you are a bunch of guys on the ground, Brook said calmly. On the ground? What do ya? Immediately Brook pulled out a cane from his coat, which turned out to be a hidden blade inside of it. Next he rushed towards the Baroque members and slashed at them, causing them to fall down to the ground writhing in pain. Like I said, you're a bunch of guys on the ground, yo ho ho ho. Brook said, laughing as he ran towards cutting and slashing as many enemies as he could see. He eventually ran towards the middle where he found Frankie and Usopp and tagged along to fight beside them. Even though some of the Baroque members were being beaten, they were still advancing forward into the island as they were taking down contestants one by one. Doflamingo, one of the warlords of the sea, was fighting near the bay of the island when he was surrounded by thousands of Baroque's works members. Doflamingo looked around as he knew there wasn't any opening for him to dodge if they intended to fire at him. He gritted his teeth and held his arms close together in case he found an opening. They laughed. What happened? I thought you were the most powerful of the seas, one of them said mockingly, causing the entire Baroque members who surrounded him to start laughing. Doflamingo snapped. He released his stand and dropped his arms slowly. What did you say? He said slowly as the Baroque members started up again. Now he's deaf. Wow, you must be really old then. The same member said as they all started taunting him as Doflamingo stood motionless. The member smirked. What, got nothing to say? Because I got a lot for you, you weak pathetic man, bwahahahah. The rest of the members nearby dropped onto the floor, were hurting from laughing so much. The member nodded his head in approval until he heard a chilling voice echo towards him. Hey, that's big talk from a shrimp like you, Doflamingo voiced boomed as each member silenced and slowly turned their heads to see Doflamingo grinning evilly as he raised his hand towards the man who just insulted him. Not only did you insult me once, you had the nerve to insult me 3 times, Doflamingo said as the man was now quaking in his boots. Doflamingo smiled, which really took the members by shock. You're right about one thing though, Doflamingo said, to which the man widened his eyes and was taken aback. Really? What is it? The member stammered, trying to keep his composure even though he was so confident before when he decided to insult a warlord. About me being the strongest. I know I'm not the strongest and I'm glad you told me it. This will allow me to continue to grow stronger by letting myself push myself to limits that I never went to, so in reality I thank you for that. Doflamingo smiled as he said it. The operative had a nervous smile as he wasn't sure what to do but kept smiling at him until Doflamingo's smile diminished from his face. But know this, I'm still strong enough to kill you 10 times over, Doflamingo said, causing the man to shudder at the sheer harshness in Doflamingo's voice as he jumped into the air and moved his hand back from his body away from the island as it started to form a fire twister from his hand. Overheat, Doflamingo shouted as he thrusted his hand forward, causing the fire tornado to move towards the island and the Baroque members. Boom. Ah. Many of the Baroque members had caught on fire and were running around screaming as they were trying to douse the flame from their bodies but was failing badly. Doflamingo slammed back to the ground in a crouch position and grinned evilly. Next time, don't ever challenge a warlord, Doflamingo said as he watched the Baroque members desperately put out the flame but couldn't. Doflamingo got up and ran towards the island and joined up with the rest of the Shichibukais in the war as they all continued to fight. Back with the Straw Hats, this is awesome. Luffy shouted as he slammed his large fist into the ground, causing some of the Baroque works to fly backwards and hit the ground hard. Yeah, it is. Usopp said, still on top of Frankie's shoulder as he shot another pellet into the ground, causing it to burst open, and another yellow beam shot up into the air to split into multiple beams colliding to the ground, causing another round of explosions to occur. Sanji and Zoro were kicking and slashing at as many Baroque works as they could. It was as if they were possessed. Zoro jumped into the air and hit a Baroque member's head with the back of the handle of his blade, causing the member to collapse onto the floor. 3759. Zoro shouted. Sanji jumped into the air and stretched his leg out as he spun around and slammed his foot into a Baroque member, causing him to collapse on the ground as well. 3758. Sanji shouted, causing Zoro to smirk. Looks like I'm ahead of you, Zoro said, running towards another Baroque member. Baka. By one person, Sanji said as he slammed down his leg on a Baroque Works member's face into the ground. 3759. Sanji said as he ran towards Zoro, continued his assault alongside him as they both were grinning as if they were having the time of their lives. Brook along with Frankie was taking down the Baroque members as if they weren't there. I wish this happens every day. Yo ho ho. Brook shouted happily as he kicked one of the Baroque members up into the air but was slammed right back down by Frankie's extended right fist. You can say that again, Brook. Frankie said as he along with Usopp and Brook ran towards their other Straw Hat crew. All 6 of the Straw Hats ran towards each other panting and covered in sweat but were still smiling. Man, they just keep coming, Usopp said, wiping the sweat off his head. And you're complaining, Zoro said, panting hard. Nah, but I'm saying some of Baroque members got past us and were heading into the island, and I think they're heading towards the dining hall where everyone including Nami, Robin and Chopper are, Usopp said. Those heartless bastards. They're going to harm Nami and Robin-chan, Sanji said, raising his fist angrily. Relax, curly brow, I'm sure they'll be fine, Zoro said, causing Sanji to lash out his leg at Zoro but get intercepted by Zoro's swords. Curly brows. You take that back, Moss head, Sanji said as they repeatedly slashed and kicked at one another. Will you two cut it out already? We need to focus on defeating Baroque, not with this. Usopp shouted but had no effect as they were continuing to attack each other. Usopp and Brook ran towards Zoro and pulled him back while Frankie used his 2 arms to hold Sanji in place. Let go of me. I'm going to rip those stupid eyebrows out his face, Zoro said, gritting his teeth. Sanji was kicking. We'll see about that calf for brains, Sanji said, trying to break free of Frankie's grip. Usopp turned to see his captain looking off at a distance in the island. Luffy, can you help us? Usopp shouted towards Luffy as he and Brook were holding onto Zoro while Frankie was holding onto Sanji, trying to keep them from tearing each other apart. Luffy didn't pay attention as he looked over to the dining hall where Chopper, Robin and Nami were. Luffy grinned. Nah, I'm sure they'll be fine, Luffy said as he walked back towards the rest of his crew. Sanji and Zoro had cooled off and finally settled down as Luffy walked back towards them. What took you so long? Usopp said angrily, but Luffy just grinned. Sorry, I was just wondering if we should go help Robin, Chopper and Nami. Usopp was taken aback, surprised. Oh really? Well, are we? Usopp asked, but Luffy shook his head. Nah, they can handle it themselves. I mean, they're a Straw Hat after all. Luffy smirked, causing the crew to smile back. But Usopp is right, there is a lot of them and they won't stop. It might be best if we get to the ship and take them out quicker, including those ships, Luffy pointed, to which they all looked back. Boom 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 boom, the missiles were firing away from Baroque's ships onto the island, continuing its rampage as they were firing rapidly onto each section of the island, even near the dining hall where all the spectators were at. If we don't take out those ships, this island won't last for long, Frankie said to the crew as they nodded. Yeah, and that means we won't be able to eat any more of the tasty foods that's on the island, Luffy said, but was instantly punched down by Sanji and Zoro. That's all you're thinking of? Sanji shouted angrily. Would you stay focused for 1 minute already? Zoro shouted angrily as well. Usopp sighed. We're going to lose if they stand around here all day, Usopp said as he looked at his friends. We should start heading for the docks and get to the ship, Usopp said as he turned towards Frankie. Frankie, once we're inside the ship, go and get your machines and use them on the ground. Sanji and Zoro, we need you here and continue the fight while me and Luffy will stay on the ship and load the cannons and fire at as many ships as we can, Usopp said. But what about Goku and the others? Frankie asked. They're going to have to fight their own battles, let's just hope they can do it without us, Usopp said, to which Sanji had fiery eyes. You dare leave Nami and Robin-chan? Exclamation mark. What kind of man are you to leave two lovely ladies all by themselves? Sanji yelled while he grabbed Usopp and shook him back and forth. It's just for a little while, Usopp said as he was still being shaken repeatedly back and forth. Besides, you're helping them out, taking out any other Baroque members coming their way. Sanji stopped and had hearts for eyes. Then what are we waiting for? We must protect Nami-chan and Robin-san. Sanji yelled out. Luffy grinned and got up. All right then, let's go, Luffy said as he pumped his fists together, and then all of them separated. At the dining hall, Chopper was slowly moving a man's leg upwards to the guy's chest, which had a huge gash on his upper thigh. Okay, now how does it feel? Chopper asked as he kept moving the man's leg back to his body. Ah! The man yelled out as he gritted his teeth since the pain was unbearable and started to fidget, trying to alleviate the pain. Oh no! Please stop moving, it'll only make the pain worse. Chopper cried out, trying to calm down the injured man but wasn't listening. No. The pain is too much. I can't bear it, injured man said, trying to kick Chopper away as every other spectator was watching on the sideline. Chopper looked around rapidly until he saw two familiar faces and called out to them. Nami, Robin, I need to give him some medicine to help stop the pain, but he's not listening to reason. Please hold him down, but be gentle, he's a little frightened, that's all, Chopper said. The two figures came towards Chopper and nodded. It was Nami and Robin. Sir, please listen, I know it hurts, but my friend here is trying to help you feel better now, please calm down. Nami said as she held onto one side of the guy's arm while Robin held onto the other. Chopper pulled out a needle filled with medicine to block the pain. Wah, what are you doing? The guy's eyes widened as he was startled by what Chopper was trying to do. Sir, I'm just giving you medicine to block the nerve pain that's coming from your leg. I need you to remain calm, I can't help you if you keep moving, Chopper said. But Robin interjected, wait Chopper. Why don't we use the senzu beans Goku gave us? Robin asked, but Chopper shook his head. We need to bandage the wound up before we can him the senzu bean, otherwise it may lead to other types of infections, Chopper replied. The man finally settled down as Chopper applied the medicine and started wrapping up the wound with bandages. Chopper sighed a huge relief and wiped the sweat of his face as he walked towards Nami with the bottle of senzu beans and gave it to her. Wait a few minutes before you give him it, I don't know the effects of the two medicines combining together, Chopper said, to which Nami nodded. As Chopper was going around seeing if anyone else had needed his assistance, a woman with a sling around her arm came running, panting hard. Everyone. We need to evacuate, the Baroque members have gotten into the island and are heading over here. The woman said, causing a mass panic inside the dining room. All at once everyone began shouting, we need to go now. One person said, where can we go? They have us trapped, another person shouted. Back and forth people began shouting in the dining hall on what to do. Chopper tried raising his voice to get everyone's attention. You guys, you guys, you guys. Chopper roared but had little to no effect getting anyone's attention. Robin walked forward and patted Chopper's back and smiled. Don't worry Chopper, I'll help you, Robin said as she crossed her hands in an X form and instantly arms started to appear around every single person except Nami, Chopper and Robin and slapped them hard across the face. Ooh, that's gotta hurt, Nami said as she closed one of her eyes and gritted her teeth. Ow, everyone said as they rubbed their cheek, which turned a dark purple, blue color and finally settled down. Chopper got in front of everyone and got their attention. Listen. While you were fighting over where to go, the Baroque operatives are probably even closer to the dining hall, so now we're really limited to what we do. Chopper said, to which a little girl ran forward the crowd with tears in her eyes. Then what must we do? I don't want to die now. The girl said with tears rolling down from her eyes. Nami took pity on the girl and walked towards her and crouched down and tried to comfort her while Chopper and everyone else tried deciding what to do. Chopper thought of an idea and quickly shared it with everyone. Okay, our best option right now is to barricade the door with tables and chairs and use the rest as a defense position. It's not the best option, but it's the best we've got so far, Chopper said. Nobody could think of any other idea and agreed to Chopper's idea. The men started to pick up his chairs and tables as they could towards the door. Few of them closed the door and began to barricade while the women took the other tables to turn them over on their side as a defense. A lot of the tables the women were using had tons of food on it, so they threw it onto the floor near them and placed the tables onto the side. A woman gasped as everyone turned to see her pointing towards the window. They're right outside, she whispered. Chopper nodded and waved his hands in the air to get everyone's attention. Okay, I need a few guys to help me hold down the door while everyone else hides behind the turned over tables. Chopper said. A few guys volunteered while everyone else hid. They stood near the edges of the door, not using any strength until needed so. Chopper placed his head ever so closely to the door, trying to hear any noise coming from outside. The room was so silent that only breathing was heard. Chopper's eyes widened as he heard them coming close to the door. Everyone stayed still as they heard the operatives outside. You see anyone here? One of the operatives spoke. Nah, they're either not here or they're just hiding, another operative said as a bunch of laughter was heard outside the door. Well, what about this door? We haven't tried it yet, one of the operatives said as he was moving the knob left and right trying to open it. From inside everyone saw the door handle moving but luckily wasn't opening. Ah well, it locked, they must be here somewhere. The operative shouted, as everyone sighed a relief. A gunshot was heard outside. The bullet went through the door and caused the door to have a medium-size hole with wood exploding from the hole. A girl screamed in terror as the gunshot scared her. Nami tried to calm the girl down but wasn't working. Huh, an operative said as they turned around towards the hole, and with enough light seeping through they saw an entire group of people. They're in here, the operative shouted towards the rest of the members. Chopper gritted his teeth. Hold the door. He shouted as all the guys used all their strength to hold the door in place. On the outside, every Baroque member was pushing on the door with all their might trying to break in. Back and forth the door was moving as each side had their purpose. One was trying to end a life and the other was trying to keep it alive. After a few minutes of non-stop pushing back and forth, the operatives were getting frustrated. Ugh, this is annoying. Let's just blast our way in. The operative said as a bunch of cheers and hurrahs were heard outside. Chopper's eyes widened to what he heard. He turned towards the guys holding down the door. Get away. Hurry. Chopper as each and every guy gritted their teeth and sprinted behind the turned over tables. Chopper did the same. Bang bang bang, gunshots were heard as the operatives were firing at the door relentlessly. The gunfire ended and everyone was silent, listening to anything that was going to happening. Boom, the door busted wide open. The chairs and tables that were in front of the door were pushed away from the force of the door swinging open. The operatives stormed into the room and were in a crouch position, taking aim, looking for any person. Robin along with Chopper and Nami took a quick look at each other as they were wondering what to do. Nami tried to move slowly but her hand landed onto some food that was thrown onto the floor. She gave a disgusted look and then her eyes widened as an idea popped into her head. Nami looked over and saw everyone looking at her and nodded as they also knew what she was thinking. 3. Nami whispered as readied herself. 2. Robin whispered as she grabbed some chunks of food from the floor. 1. Chopper shouted, taking the operatives by surprise. Everyone got up holding a chunk of food in their hand. Food fight. Chopper, Nami and Robin shouted as they, including everyone, started throwing food bits at the operatives, nearly blinding them. The operatives were having a hard time as they could see in front of them thanks to the food bits covering their faces. Ah! Many of the operatives screamed as they were slipping on the floor or bumping heads as the floor was very slippery due to the messy food lying on their feet. Now, Chopper yelled as he and everyone jumped over the turntables to face off the operatives who on the floor. Chopper morphed into a large, more human-like creature when facing off against the operatives. As he walked forwards, the operatives looked up and had a terrified look to what they saw. Who are you? The operatives screamed as they held each other in fear. Chopper growled and raised his hands like a bear would and roared, your worst nightmare. The operatives screamed, trying to get up, but were instantly slapped across the room by Chopper's immense strength, taking their breath away. They desperately tried getting up but were clumped together. Ha! Goku shouted as he sent multiple energy blasts at Nix, who maneuvered himself to dodge the attacks. The energy blasts headed straight towards the ocean and caused explosions to erupt across the sea. Goku gritted his teeth as he stopped firing energy attacks and launched forwards at Nix. Nix also followed suit and headed straight at Goku. They appeared right in front of each other and raised their fists in a position to strike. Boom, Goku and Nix struck and landed in a stalemate as their fists collided together and caused a whiplash of air to push the airborne fighters apart. Wah! Goku yelled as he spun out of control and crashed onto the island beach with a loud thud, splitting the sand into two. Nix skidded across the ocean and crashed into the island near the Forest of Infinite Terror. Goku slowly got up but fell down to one knee as he held his chest where Nix struck him with his energy blade. Goku felt dizzy as he couldn't see very well. Goku had to stick his hand down into the soft sand in order to keep himself upright. Goku looked up dazed as he looked around trying to find Nix. Boom! An explosion of fire glowed into the sky as Nix emerged from the island with anger flushed from his face. He gasped heavily and turned his face towards Goku. I will not tolerate this any longer. Nix shouted, do you hear me? I will destroy you until there is nothing left. Nix screamed as he lashed his arm outward and an energy blade formed. Nix dashed at the grounded Goku and grinned evilly, this is my win. Nix shouted as he struck his energy blade towards Goku. Goku grinned, he was waiting for Nix to slip up and this was it. Goku moved his upper body to the side as the energy blade went past him and hit nothing but air. Goku crouched onto the ground and picked himself up on his side to do a roundhouse kick to Nix's upper body. Arg! Nix roared in pain, he gritted his teeth and drew back his arm to strike again. This time Goku moved back as Nix spun with his arm out to decapitate Goku. He charged forwards with his head and head-butted Nix in the chest, taking Nix's breath away. Goku wasn't done yet, he pushed his palm upwards into Nix's face making Nix cover his face in pain. Nix swung wildly as he tried to at least get Goku once but was ultimately failing. Goku raised the sole of his fighting boots and pushed outward towards Nix, hitting him directly in the gut and pushing Nix back a little. Nix gritted his teeth as he disappeared and reappeared behind Goku within the second, but Goku slammed his hands into the ground and ending it with a spin of the kicking heel striking Nix's shoulder and knocking him off balance. Nix landed into the sand with a loud thud as he was in pain from all the attacks Goku successfully delivered. Goku was panting as it took a lot of energy for him to do all the capoeira techniques he had learned from his friend master, Kayamori. Huff 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 Goku panted as he watched Nix lying face first on the sand. Goku narrowed his eyes and sighed, you're pretty good Nix, I'll give you that. Goku powered down from his god form into his base form. He looked down at Nix, I'm giving you one last chance Nix, I'm heading back to my friends and helping them win this war, but I don't ever want to see your face near my home, Earth, ever again. Goku spoke. Goku turned around and started heading towards the island where everyone else was when he heard a muffled laugh behind him. Goku turned around to see it was Nix getting up slowly and laughing. Hey, you still think you're going to win, have you forgotten about your injury? Nix pointed. Goku clenched his chest as the pain started coming back. It'll only be a matter of time before you run out of energy and I'll claim the title as the man that defeated Son Goku. Nix shouted as he raised his fist into the air and laughed maniacally. Goku gritted his teeth, you fool, this will be your worst decision, I've fought against stupid people but you must be the stupidest one yet. Goku clenched his fists and shouted into the air. Ah! Goku's body was engulfed in a golden flame, his hair spiked upwards and turned a shade of gold, his eyes turned teal green and his body increased in mass. Alright, Nix. Let's go. Goku shouted as the golden flame increased in size. Nix smirked. What happened? I thought you were going to end it with your red hair form. Nix said as he raised his ki power and prepared his fighting stance. Goku smirked back. Ha, you think I would be the charitable and let you fight me again in god form? Goku prepared his fighting stance. This is bad, I couldn't raise my power anymore, if I fight for too long I'll drain more power and eventually collapse due to my injuries. Goku thought. He looked up to see Nix was shaking a little. Goku assumed Nix was hurt badly too. I'll just have to end this quickly. Goku thought. Their monstrous battle was about to resume. With Luffy, Usopp, and Frankie. As they were running towards the docks trying to get to their ship, Luffy turned his head towards Usopp. So, what's the plan again? Luffy said as they all were still running. Usopp turned towards his captain with anger in his eyes. You forgot the plan again. This is the 5th time I'm telling you the plan. Usopp shouted as Luffy grinned. Frankie sighed and ran between Luffy and Usopp. Luffy, all you do is fire cannons and blow ships up. I'm bringing my weapons onto the beach and helping everyone out there and Usopp is helping you destroy as many ships as possible, Frankie said, hoping this shortened explanation would help get through to his captain. He was getting annoyed hearing the plan over and over again. Okay, that makes sense, you explained it way better than Usopp could, Luffy grinned. Shut up. It's because you have a thick skull you don't get it. Usopp shouted as Frankie and Luffy smiled while they continued running towards the docks. Usopp turned his head forward. Look, there's the dock. Usopp pointed as Frankie and Luffy cheered, but their cheers were short-lived. As they made it to the docks they saw all the ships were packed together making it nearly impossible for them to find their ship. Ah, you gotta be kidding me. Luffy shouted into the air as he kicked a stone near the dock into the sea making it skip across the ocean. We're going to have to look at each ship until we find ours, Frankie said, but Usopp had a worried look. But that'll take hours. At this rate we'll never make it. Usopp was cut off when he felt pressure being applied to the top of his head, making him fall forwards. It was Luffy. He jumped into the air and landed one foot onto of Usopp as he stretched his arm onto one of the boat's sail. Forget that, Luffy shouted, implying to Frankie's idea before. Luffy launched into the air and flew up into the sky, looking around his surroundings. He smiled and pointed down. I found it, Luffy shouted as he extended his arm forward and shot himself back down into the boat with a huge explosion of dust forming as he landed. Luffy, Usopp and Frankie shouted as they ran towards the boat Luffy landed on. As they ran towards the boat they noticed it was theirs and Luffy was laying on the boat smiling. Idiot, you could have destroyed our ship, Usopp shouted as he and Frankie boarded the ship. Luffy grinned as he got up and ruffled his hair. Sorry, but I didn't want to look for one ship all day, Luffy said as he brushed the dust of his clothes. Alright, let's get to it. Luffy pumped his fist into the air. Frankie smiled and gave a thumb up and walked to the door leading to the inside corridors of the ship. Usopp nodded and ran to the top of the ship to move the ship out of the docks. Luffy stretched his arm forward and launched himself to the front of the ship and sat cross-legged on the figurehead of the Thousand Sunny. The ship managed to get through the docks and was sailing to the front of the beaches. As the ship approached the front of the island, an operative noticed them coming and pointed at them. Sir, some of the Straw Hats are closing in, the operative shouted. The leader of the Billions turned his head and saw the operative was right. He turned to his remaining army that was occupying the ships and shouted loudly. Listen up, I don't want them anywhere near this ship. Bring them down immediately or help me so I'll destroy you all myself. The commander spoke with the authority that shook all the operatives. Immediately they rushed to their positions and aimed their cannons at the Thousand Sunny. Luffy jumped to his feet and turned his head to Usopp. Get ready to drop Frankie. Luffy spoke. Usopp nodded as he moved the ship away from Baroque Works ships and closer to the island. Fire away, the commander shouted, but his operatives shook their heads. We can't. There's no clear shot, and we'll cause many casualties in our forces, one of the operatives spoke. The commander walked towards the operative and grabbed him by the throat and threw him overboard. Ah! The operative screamed as he plunged headfirst into the cold waters. The commander went to the edge, took out a hand pistol and shot a few rounds into the water. A shade of red emerged on the surface of the ocean along with a lifeless body with multiple holes seen in it. The commander turned to his remaining operatives and placed his pistol back to his side before he spoke. So, anyone else has anything to say? The commander shouted as the operatives cowered in fear. The commander had an evil grin. Good, now get back to it, the commander said. Immediately they rushed to the cannons and started firing at the Thousand Sunny. Luffy looked up and saw the hundreds of cannons coming towards his ship. Usopp started screaming as he saw the cannonballs aimed at the ship. Luffy lowered his hat covering his eyes and dashed to the mast of the ship. He stretched his arms on both sides of the mast and walked back as far as he could. Gomu Gomu no, Luffy said. He released from the ground and launched into the air and in front of the cannonballs. Luffy extended his body outwards, allowing him to take the cannonballs head on. As the cannonballs made contact with Luffy, he inhaled a large amount of air into his body. Balloon, Luffy shouted. Suddenly his body expanded outwards as his belly had turned into the shape of a balloon, causing all the cannonballs to scatter all over the place, including some of the Baroque work ships. Luffy released all the air from his body, allowing him to glide back to his ship. Luffy started laughing gleefully. That was awesome, Luffy said as he got up. He saw a few ships sinking due to cracks on the side of the ships, allowing water to flood in. Alright, I bought us enough time. Usopp, how close are we to the island? Luffy said. Usopp smiled. We're here. Usopp pointed forward. Usopp turned the ship to the side, allowing Frankie to come out with his weapons. Chanel 4 and 5. Black Rhino FRU Unit 4 and Brachio Tank Unit 5 launch. Frankie's voice was heard as two machines came out of the side of the ship and launched to the front lines of the beach. But Frankie wasn't done. He brought the two machines together in order to make his strongest creation, Iron Pirate. Frankie Shogun, Frankie shouted as the machines formed into a massive robot. He began to create havoc for the Baroque members as he showed no mercy towards them. Frankie extended his arm outward. General left, Frankie shouted. Immediately 4 gun barrels underneath the circular panel on the hand opened up like a hatch and bullets rained down as many Baroque members that were visible. Frankie retracted the gun barrels into his hand and brought both of his arms together. He then filled his arms with air and fired a giant blast of compressed air towards the Baroque members. The damage was severe as a majority of the operatives were hit by the blast of air. Frankie smiled. All right. Can you withstand my power? Frankie shouted as the robot's fist pounded its metal chest. Usopp and Luffy smiled to what their friend said, but it was short-lived. Boom boom boom, they turned back and readied their cannons at the firing Baroque ships and launched their own assault. With Usopp's help, Luffy was able to get direct shots at the ships and sink them. Keep hitting to the left, Luffy, the wind will be able to guide it to the ships, Usopp said as Luffy nodded. As Luffy was firing more cannonballs, a person slammed into the ocean in front of the Thousand Sunny and the Baroque members. They all stopped to look and saw another person flying towards them. It was Goku. Huff huff huff, Goku retracted his muscles and dove straight through the ocean, caused a lot of waves to form, tilting ships left and right. Whoa, why did Goku turn back into Super Saiyan? Luffy questioned. I don't know, but we can't worry about him now, we have to worry. Before Usopp could finish, Nix was launched from the water, as did Goku. Blow for blow, Goku repeatedly punched Nix in the face, causing his face to swell on the side. Next, Goku did a one-handed handstand and used his legs to kick Nix with all the power he could muster into it. Goku kicked Nix in the cheek, causing it to swell as well. As Goku went for a strong right, Nix grabbed his arm and jumped, allowing him to use his feet and stomped Goku's chest. Goku felt ligaments tear but wasn't sure because of the adrenaline coursing through his body. Nix launched forward and did powerful kick, but to quick reflexes, Goku avoided the kick and did a kick of his own and struck at Nix's raised leg. The amount of pain Nix felt is indescribable. Nix was getting weaker by the minute and Goku knew he was too. He had to end it now. Goku rushed forward and slammed the heel of his foot into Nix's abdomen, causing Nix to spiral out of control near the ocean. Goku followed but landed near the front of the beach. He cupped his hands together and readied himself. Goku turned his head towards Usopp and Luffy. He knew the blast wouldn't come close to them, but he still wants to be sure. Usopp, Luffy, get away as fast as possible, now. Goku shouted. They nodded and jumped off the boat and ran to the sideline as the Baroque members stopped firing and aimed all their weapons at Goku. Ka, me, ha, me, Goku said slowly. Nix was slowly regaining focus and saw Goku, but it was too late. Ha! Goku extended his arms forward and a blue energy beam exploded from Goku's hands and shot straight at Nix and the remaining ships. No. Nix's last words, before he was engulfed by the blast and was eradicated along with the commander and the remaining ships. The blast was powerful enough it sliced through the ocean and shot straight out of the Earth's atmosphere. Every soul on the island stopped and witnessed the scene that unfolded right in front of their eyes. Everyone couldn't believe it. Goku had beaten Nix, the 1.5 million bounty and who was trained under the elite assassin Hit. Every Baroque member dropped their weapons. They knew they were defeated and there was no point in fighting anymore. They fell down to their knees, showing they gave up. Everyone sighed in relief as they all knew the war was finally over. Goku grinned weakly. It's about time. Goku said before he fell backward onto the ground. Goku. Sanji, Zoro, Usopp, Luffy and Frankie shouted. They all ran towards Goku to see he was still alive. We finally did, guys. We finally did it. Goku smiled, as did the rest of the guys. They all gave a thumbs up and gave a hearty laugh, except Goku, who laughed weakly since it pained him to laugh. The rest of the contestants were cheering as well since they survived the assault from Baroque works. The guys brought Goku up to his feet and carried him under his shoulder. As they were doing this, the Shichibukais were watching Goku. We're going to have to report a new bounty for Goku, but for now let him enjoy this victory. He's earned it, one of the Shichibukais said as the rest nodded. They all turned and walked towards the inner part of the island. Soon after, the contestants tied up the remaining Baroque members and placed them together until officials came to the scene. Thank you all for protecting this island. The rest of our officials will take care of this situation and bring these men into custody. As of right now, the Battle Royale has been postponed due to this horrific event. It will be scheduled in 2 hours, so everyone please rest now before the battle will commence. The official bowed in respect, as did the contestants, and they all walked back to the inner part of the island as well. Immediately Goku was rushed to Chopper, who bandaged his injuries up and gave him a senzu bean to eat. Goku's muscles expanded rapidly, causing the bandages to rip and then contracting back. Chopper sighed and rubbed his head. Well, that's what I get for giving him a senzu bean after wrapping his injuries. Every Straw Hat pirate in the room started laughing, as did Goku. Goku got to his feet and stretched out for a second. Man, that feels great. I haven't had that much excitement after I've Beerus and Champa. Goku grinned. Zoro smiled. Well, we got 2 hours before the battle royale. Anyone wants to do something? Zoro said casually until Luffy jumped into the air. Food. Everyone shrugged and went along with their captain to the dining hall where maids, waiters, and butlers were sweeping the floor of the remaining food that was lying on the ground. Nami, Robin, and Chopper gave each other a quick smile, remembering the food fight they had started against the Baroque members. One of the waiters took notice of the Straw Hats and smiled. He walked towards them and bowed. Welcome. Please take a seat anywhere, the food is just being prepared and will be done shortly. The Straw Hats thanked the butler and took their seats and waited. It was quiet except for the constant noise of sweeping throughout the hall. It was quite irritable, and thankfully Sanji broke the silence in the group. So what now? After the dragon tournament is over, where do we head next? Sanji asked, to which Nami replied, I'm not sure, I haven't been able to find anything yet near Dragon Island. Sanji frowned, took a cigarette and lit it. I don't care where we go, as long as it's somewhere fun. Luffy grinned when his stomach grumbled. Ah, when is the food coming? Luffy said impatiently. The food's almost done, Luffy. The waiter said it's almost done, Robin said smiling. A loud rumbling noise that sounded like thunder was going off in the distance. All the Straw Hats turned their heads to see Goku holding one hand against his stomach and the other scratching the back of his head in slight embarrassment. Well, let's hope it's not too long, because I'm famished. The group tried to keep in their laughter but couldn't and burst out laughing along with Goku. In a moment's time, the food was prepared and the group walked over getting their plates of food. But none except Luffy was prepared to see the amount Goku could eat if he was really hungry, and I mean really hungry. As the Straw Hats were done eating their portion, Goku's pile of dishes was covering almost all the table, and as time passed on, it increased even more. Goku was mowing down a bowl of rice and a plate full of dumplings and a bowl of soup as if it were just a snack for him. Oh great, we got another monster eater in the crew, Sanji said as they all watched in awe at the insane amount Goku ate in a minute. After a half an hour, Goku was stuffed and a bright smile dashed across his face. Man, I haven't eaten this much since I was at Amazon Lily. Goku patted his stomach as the crew just stood in awe. Chopper broke the silence. Well, we got at least an hour and a half before the battle royale starts. Everyone participating should get prepared before it starts, Chopper, to which they all nodded in approval. They all left the dining hall and went to get ready for the tournament. Goku walked to the front of the beaches. He looked and saw the battlefield that took place moment before. He sighed in relief that it was all over and now he could continue his goal in participating in the dragon tournament. Goku turned around to walk back when he felt an enormous amount of power coming closer to the island. He turned his head to see a cloaked person flying over the island. Goku noticed the cloaked man was staring right back at him when he dashed out of sight and into the inner part of the island. Goku cocked his head slightly in confusion. Where have I felt this power before? It feels mixed, Goku thought. Goku shrugged when suddenly alarms were roaring throughout the island. The loudspeaker turned on and everyone around the island went silent. Attention all participating in the men's division, the battle royale will commence in 2 minutes. Will all competitors come to the stadium in preparation for the tournament? Thank you, the loudspeaker cut off and Goku smiled. All right, let's get it going, Goku said as he placed his 2 fingers to his head and IT near the stadium. Everyone was arriving at the stadium and the spectators shuffled into the stands once again, but for some reason, Brook tagged along with the crowd. Nami was the first to notice him. Brook, over here, Nami called out, waving her hand in the air to get his attention. He finally noticed her and walked over to them. Hey, finally found you all. The crowd was a hassle to get through, Brook said. Nami was confused. Brook, aren't you supposed to be in the battle royale? You're a contestant, Nami said, but Brook scratched the back of his hair. Yeah, I forgot there was a no-weapon policy, yo ho ho ho. Brook laughed as he held out his cane with the hidden blade in it. Nami sighed and rubbed her head. Of course. Now we have only 3 people to rely on winning the prize money, Nami said as the rest of the crew sitting in the stands cracked a smile. Finally, everyone arrived and the announcer got back on the loudspeaker. Welcome everybody. Don't worry, we're not going to do the introduction again as you've already heard it before. A slight chuckle was heard around the stadium. Now all we want to do is give a round of applause for our contestants for showing bravery and honor in protecting us from those men who called themselves Baroque works, so please if you will, the announcer said as everyone from the stands stood up and gave the contestants a hearty round of applause. The contestants took a bow and walked back to their fighting position. Thank you all for showing sportsmanship. Now an added detail, all our fighters are given a number to tell us how many people are eliminated from the tournament if they hit the water. With all that out of the way, good luck to you all and let the Battle Royale officially begin. The announcer said. Immediately he pulled out a pistol and shot it into the air. All contestants rushed forward and clashed with each other as the 10-minute countdown had begun. Gomu Gomu no. Gatling gun. Luffy shouted as he rapidly struck his fists out towards any opponents and pushed them back. Your turn, Sanji. Luffy smiled. Instantly Sanji rushed behind them and used his powerful kicks to launch them into the air. Goku. Sanji shouted. Goku stopped and noticed the fighters in the air, on it. Goku realized what they meant and rushed into the air, kicking the fighters one by one out of the stadium and into the waters, eliminating them from the tournament. Competitors 1 to 7, 15, 28 and 30 to 42 are eliminated. The announcer spoke as the spectators cheered for the tag team. Sanji, Luffy and Goku performed. Goku flew back down and proceeded to knock as many competitors as he could. With a single blow Goku could push a competitor off the stadium and into the water. Goku realized he was using too much power against them and wanted to have a fair fight. He lowered his power to bare minimum and continued to fight using every martial arts and capoeira move he had ever learned. Goku moved forward and saw Doflamingo knocking out dozens of competitors into the water. Competitors 8 to 14 and 50 to 65 are eliminated. We're at the half mark and nearly half of the competitors have been defeated. The announcer spoke. Doflamingo turned around and the only person his eyes laid upon, out of all the competitors, was Goku. The crowds were rallying. It'd been 2 years since that match began and Goku smiled. It was happening again. Goku cracked his neck and prepared his stance, but Doflamingo had other ideas. He jumped into the air and extended his hand back. Goku knew what he was about to do. He looked around and saw many people were going to be hit, so he flew into the air and rushed at Doflamingo. Overheat. Doflamingo shouted as he extended his hand at Goku and shot a vortex of flames right at him. To block the attack from the competitors, Goku had to use his arms and take the blast head on. It had a direct hit as Goku blocked the flames with his arms. He gritted his teeth as it was burning like hell. The flames were glowing brightly across the island as the heat intensified, ripping at Goku's GI, causing it to burn away. Damn it, Doflamingo said as it wasn't pushing Goku back. He put more power into the flames, but it wasn't moving Goku back even a few inches. I'm not letting you win, Goku shouted as he pushed the flame back and actually launched it straight at the shocked Doflamingo. The sky filled with smoke as both warriors were engulfed by the smoke. Oh my, please, everyone, cover from the ash coming down, the announcer spoke. Immediately the people in the stands covered their mouths to avoid choking from the ash pouring over the island. As the smoke receded, Doflamingo was the only one spotted in the air as he was looking around. Where did he go? Doflamingo thought. He saw a shadow dash beside him. He must have gone behind me. Doflamingo used his strength and turned around to strike but found no one there. Sorry, but if you're going to rely on eyes to battle me, then this battle is over, Goku's voice was heard in the distance. Doflamingo turned around and instantly regretted it as Goku launched an elbow into his gut. Arg! Doflamingo roared as he fell down to the stadium in pain. The other Shichibukais rushed towards Doflamingo as he got back off the ground slowly. They all watched Goku descend upon them. I know you all are itching for a rematch, so let me be the one to issue the challenge. Goku spoke with the authority that made the Shichibukais have goosebumps. We're at the half mark, 5 minutes remaining. The announcer spoke. Goku smiled and readied his stance. Doflamingo, teach Marshall, Gecko, Kuma. Let's give them a battle they'll never forget, Goku thought. Their battle was about to begin. Back with Luffy, he slammed his arm into the ground as steam appeared from his body, turning it a shade of pink. Second gear, Luffy said. He dashed through the middle of the stadium, knocking a couple of contestants to the ground. As they got up, they rushed and slammed into Luffy, knocking into the ground. Erg. Luffy was trying to get out, but they were pushing to the edge while he was still on the ground. Gomu Gomu no. Balloon. Luffy shouted. Immediately his body expanded again and all the contestants were shot into the air. Luffy jumped to his feet and jumped on each competitor to get to the top of the sky. Once he reached the top, he extended his fist back. Gomu Gomu no. Luffy's arm turned a dark shade of red, hardening for his upcoming attack. Red Hawk. Luffy shouted as he shot his fist into one of the competitors, causing a chain reaction of all the fighters slamming together and falling into the water. Competitors 87 to 100 are eliminated. The announcer shouted as the crowds in the stands went berserk with cheers. Luffy slammed back to the ground and scratched the back of his head and grinned. "Aw shucks, that was nothing," Luffy said before he went back to fighting. Sanji was following, kicking every opponent he could see before he was sucker punched on his side. "Arg!" Sanji yelled out as he hit the floor. He turned his head to see a cloaked figure hovering over him. Sanji tried to do a floor roundhouse kick to the figure, but he blocked the attack as if was nothing. "What the?" Sanji said in shock. He tried again for the neck and he hit the figure square on, but the figure just stared back at Sanji. "Alright then. How about this?" Sanji shouted as he jumped into the air and slammed down multiple kicks at the figure. To his shock, the figure caught his leg, but the figure wasn't done. He took his leg and slammed him back and forth on the ground repeatedly. "Sanji!" Nami cried out in horror as she and her friends saw their friend being pummeled. The figure stopped and was dangling the bloody-faced Sanji. The figure simply walked over to the edge and was holding him by the leg and wasn't moving. The figure smiled inside as he released his grasp of Sanji and watched him slowly descend into the waters. "Competitor 67 is eliminated," the announcer spoke. Luffy was in shock. He didn't see Sanji's battle as he was fighting someone else. He rushed to edge and saw it was true. Sanji had been eliminated. Sanji was barely conscious and was being dragged onto the surface from the other competitors as he took a beating from the cloaked man. Luffy was submerged with anger as he looked at the cloaked man. "You bastard!" Luffy shouted as he struck his fist at the cloaked man but hit only air instead as the figure disappeared from sight. The figure reappeared within the second but nowhere near Luffy. He looked at Luffy, who was looking around, and had an evil smile. "I can't eliminate you yet. After all, you're a part of my plans," the cloaked man said as he disappeared again and fought somewhere else in the stadium. "Back with Goku. Stay still," Doflamingo shouted as he went for a strong right at Goku, who back-flipped away. Goku moved in different positions, avoiding Doflamingo's attacks with ease. Goku looked to his left and saw Gecko closing in on him. He smiled. "Nice try," Goku thought. Goku crouched to the floor and did a roundhouse kick while shifting his body using only one hand on the ground. He slammed his leg in Doflamingo and Gecko, who were pushed back, slamming into other competitors in the stadium. As Goku got up, he felt someone behind him. He jumped into the air and performed a scissor kick, grabbing the man by the neck. But as Goku looked closely, he noticed it was one of the Shichibukai's Kuma, and Kuma was unfazed by the attack. He grabbed Goku by the waist and started choking him out with a bear hug. "Arg!" Goku gritted his teeth as he was trying to push his body away, but Kuma was crushing his body, taking his breath away. Kuma held Goku by the arms and held him forward as the rest of the Shichibukais ganged up on him, taking turns striking at Goku. Goku gritted his teeth and lowered his head. He then started to chuckle. "Seems a bit unfair, don't you say?" Goku gave a small smile which surprised the Shichibukais. "A pirate's life is always unfair. This is just another day for them," one of the Shichibukais retorted. Goku frowned. "Seems difficult, but I'll have to do it," Goku said. Doflamingo gritted his teeth and raised his fist. "Don't you know when to shut up?" Doflamingo shouted as he struck forward. Within the second, Goku raised his knee to block the attack, which took the Shichibukais by shock by Goku's reflexes. Goku then slammed the heel of his training shoe into Kuma's lower leg, taking the Shichibukai down onto one knee, which made Kuma lessen his grip on Goku. "Oh no, you don't!" Teach shouted as he struck his fist at Goku, who disappeared, causing Teach to accidentally hit Kuma, sending him flying. Kuma landed with a thud and started rolling off the edge of the stadium. "Ah, Kuma!" Teach shouted as Kuma was moving closer to the edge, but it was too late. Kuma couldn't stop himself in time and fell off the stadium and descended into the water. "Competitor 27 has been eliminated," the announcer spoke. Goku rushed forwards right in Marshal Teach's face, taking him off guard. Goku did an uppercut right to his chin, causing Teach to be sent back flying off the stadium and also descend into the water. "Competitor 76 has been eliminated," the announcer shouted as the stands jumped into the air, crazily cheering on Goku's battle. If Goku wasn't paying attention to his battle, he would have heard, "Let's go Goku," chant from the crowds as he was fighting and beating the Shichibukais one by one. Doflamingo and Gecko went on different sides of Goku, ready to attack. Goku knew what was about to happen and was ready for them. Doflamingo and Gecko advanced forwards and struck at Goku, but he was prepared. He dropped to the floor, causing Gecko and Doflamingo to accidentally slam their fists at each other. "Ah, watch where you're going!" Gecko screamed at Doflamingo. "Watch where I'm going. You struck me first," Doflamingo retorted back angrily. "And here I thought I was your opponent." Goku's voice was heard below them. They looked down to see Goku using momentum to pick his body up and scissor kick Gekko, launching to the edge of the stadium. Luckily, Gekko caught the edge and was still considered safe as he didn't touch the water. He pushed upwards into the stadium and got back up but would instantly regret it. Goku had elbowed Gekko in the stomach. The pain was shooting around Gekko's body was something he never experienced before. Gekko just stood there motionless as the pain wouldn't allow him to move anymore. Goku turned his body towards Gekko and raised his index finger to his face. He tapped Gekko in the forehead, causing him to fall backward and descend into the waters. Unbelievable. Doflamingo thought in shock as he looked at Goku. It can't be possible, but it's as if Goku has gotten stronger than the last time I versed him. Doflamingo gritted his teeth at the thought of it. Damn you. Doflamingo whispered. He rushed in the middle of the stadium. Goku! He shouted, getting everyone's attention. Goku turned his head and saw Doflamingo extend his hand back. Goku's eyes widened as he stretched out his hand. Stop it, Doflamingo. You're going to hit the spectators with that attack. Goku shouted. Panic arose across the stands behind Goku as they feared they too would be hit by the blast. Doflamingo looked up and gave an evil grin. Do I look like I would care? Doflamingo said. This gave goosebumps to the competitors except for Goku and Luffy. They all ran behind Doflamingo hoping to avoid the blast. Goku gritted his teeth and shouted to Luffy, grab a hold to anything. I'm going to send him flying. Goku then proceeded to shout at the crowds, everyone, cover your heads now. Goku shouted, to which they all took cover under the stands. Goku turned back and clenched his fist together, ha! Goku shouted as he raised his ki and cupped his hands together. Ka, me, ha, Goku said as a ball of energy formed between Goku's hand. This is my full power. Doflamingo shouted. He extended his hand forward, overheat, ha. Both fighters shot their attacks out and collided, causing a huge explosion of air to ripple back as the competitors held their ground against Doflamingo and Goku's attack. The blast was intense as both competitors wouldn't back down. Grr. Doflamingo gritted as tried putting more power into his attack but wasn't pushing Goku back. We have 30 more seconds before the tournament is over. Who will win this battle? The announcer barely got out as the blasts were louder than the loudspeaker, but Goku heard it. I ain't losing to you. Goku said as he sent more power into his attack, pushing Doflamingo back a little. 15 seconds left. The announcer shouted. Goku turned his head and smiled. You really improved, Doflamingo. I won't lie, you really surprise me. Goku said. 10, 9, 8. The announcer started counting the final seconds, but at the end of the day, it's going to be me who wins this. Goku shouted as he pushed his blast to the point even Doflamingo couldn't hold it anymore. Ah! Doflamingo shouted as the blast exploded with a large rush of air that swept a majority of competitors off their feet and out of the stadium, including Doflamingo. Luffy was holding, including some lucky competitors, but barely, as the air current was pushing their body back hard. Dust swept across the stadium, making it difficult to see anything. 3, 2, 1, 0. The battle royale is over, the announcer shouted as he looked at the stadium but couldn't as the dust was covering the entire arena. The crowds were slowly getting up trying to see but were having a hard time as well. That was some power. Zoro said in disbelief. Yeah, but an awesome one, yo ho ho ho, Brook laughed. As the dust receded, everyone noticed a majority of the competitors were eliminated due to the air pressure pushing them off, and only a few were remaining, including Luffy, the cloaked figure, and Goku. Unbelievable. Goku managed to eliminate 21 competitors in the remaining seconds of the battle royale. The announcer said, causing the crowds to be in shock to what they heard. Nami sighed. Well, it Goku. What do you expect? The announcer came back on. Alright folks, the battle royale is officially over and the competitors who I will read off right now will be facing in the tournament soon. The announcer said as the crowds cheered a little. Competitors 29, 43 to 45, 66 to 70, 74, 75, 77 to 80, and 82 to 85 will head off to the tournament and have a 1 versus 1 competition. The announcer shouted as Goku grinned along with Luffy. Goku turned his head to where he last saw the cloaked man, but unsurprisingly he was there. I know I've felt that power before, I guess I'll find out in the tournament. Goku smiled and cheered along with Luffy as they headed out of the stadium waiting for their next challenge, the Dragon Tournament. Thank you for watching. What if Luffy meets Goku Part 4? Please like, subscribe and share Roranoa TV for more One Piece fanfiction videos.